lights, breaking down the ties. Every wrong, every right. Got the insight, fire, and the Bama pride. When the Crimson's on the line, we alone for the ride. Bama voices on the call, we gon' break it all down. Roll it up. From the rumble in the trenches to the kings of the crown. Roll it up. Yeah, the tide runs deep and the show runs strong. Jack, Jeff, Trev, keep it rolling all season long. Every snap, every play, every headline drop. If it's Bama on the field, you know we never stop. Fast take, big stakes, tide talk all day. Alabama by CFB, we don't play. Christian spirit in the air, let the good times flow. Times flow. Roll it up. Only one place to be when you love.
Good evening and welcome to the 71st edition of the Alabama Crimson Tide Live call-in show from yours truly, Jackson Johnson, and my colleague Jeffrey Dolly Talk Sports, as we are giving you our take on the 8A spring game coming near you at April 11th, a little bit after Easter, because I'm going to tell you right now, that's going to be a fun ride and a good time for a long time, getting closer to the college football season as we know it. And it's always going to be fun. And you know, just kind of give that hint that the football season is getting closer, as the 71st edition of the Alabama Crimson Tide Live College Show is presented by FanDuel, where you can get top-notch predictions for the world of college football, men's and women's college basketball, but also some way too early national championship predictions for the 2026 season, as the Alabama Crimson Tide, oh, there we go. Indiana's got the fourth best odds for 2026. The Alabama Crimson Tide, they're way down below Texas A&M, LSU, Miami, Texas Tech, Georgia, Oregon, Indiana, Texas, Ohio State, and Notre Dame, as having the, oh man, like 10th, 11th best odds. Like, good grief.
The fact that FanDuel has Indiana with the same odds as Texas is insane to me. That shows you how far Indiana has come. I know they just won a national championship, but it's like now the follow-up season, people still think, like, for once, like, Indiana actually can win, but that the fact that they're still fourth. Like, a lot of people win a natty, and it's like they're number one. So it's almost like Indiana's being disrespected still, but people are actually believing in them now, which is cool. Yeah. It's kind of cool because before, even this past year, Indiana was way down the list. Now, fourth best odds. Absolutely crazy stuff from FanDuel there. And then when you look at Alabama down there at 11th, that's tough. That is tough. I mean, especially considering, we're Alabama. You think about the amount of the benefit of the doubt we normally get in odds. And I know 11th you could say is not horrible, but to me, that screams outside national championship contender. Obviously, Indiana had worse odds in the preseason last year, and they ended up winning it all. So that's not to say Alabama can't do that, but I just do think that it kind of shows where we are right now. We're not in the national championship caliber tier. We're on the tier outside of that. And maybe this team does surprise us. You never know. We got a long offseason ahead of us, and we're going to be breaking it all down for you guys and Travion with practice and everything. That's going to be great stuff. We're going to learn more about this team, but still, it's just one of those things where it's like 11th to me that's not good. You at least want to be like 7th or 6th. I do agree with Michiganders 1-2-1-2. I'm kind of disappointed that Bama is considering canceling them out of the high of the sport, but and funny enough, I responded to this announcement on social media. I responded to this announcement, and I said, in quote, "You can blame the playoff for this." And I've got a whole montage of replies saying, "No, it's because Bama's soft. It's because Bama's soft." I don't agree with that. That's fine. I can be your take. That's fine. I think it's shallow, but that can be your take. But the reason it's the playoff, because look at Texas. Texas played that game against Ohio State last year, lost, went 9-3, and guess what happened? They missed the playoffs. If they didn't play that game, they would have made the playoffs. That's why.
God.
I'm sorry, but you can blame softness. You can blame anything. Money would be massive to play that game. Out of eyeballs on the game, out of tickets, all stuff. The money would be huge. But it's because these teams want to make the playoffs. And there's no viable reason to play those tough non-conference games when it just is actually more of a hindrance to you making the playoff. That's your
I'm
problem.
hoping the committee will put more of an emphasis on strength of victory and strength of schedule.
I think the problem is, Jackson, is that it's much harder to quantify it with less games. And I've said this before on other shows because a lot of people throw basketball at me. What's the difference between basketball and football? College basketball has like triple the games. You think about it. Like a season can have 34, 35, 36 games. Football, and the regular season in college football is 12 games. In the regular season in college basketball, before conference tournaments, it's 31. You know how much more data that is? You know how much more data that you can show, hey, this is actually a good team versus not a good team? Football is much different, man. Like, you look every year, you could have a 10-2 ACC team play an 8-4 Big Ten team or an 8-4 SEC team, and that ACC team didn't lose. You'd be like, well, hey, that ACC team, they're better. Their record's better. Who do they play? Who do they beat? If they didn't play anybody, like I know Virginia beat Missouri, but Missouri they had a fourth quarterback. A walk-on was playing, and Virginia still barely won. I think Missouri was better. I'm sorry.
I remember saying on the SEC channel, when I had on, oh man, I'm forgetting his name. It's Kyle from On 3 for the Missouri site. I had Kyle McAvery. I had him on for Missouri talking about how it feels like it's going to be a toss-up between Missouri and Virginia at that time, days before the game was played. And I said the same thing with Jacqueline Francione from Wahoo's 247. Same thing on my Jack sign-ups over there. That's what I said.
In my opinion, though, I think that Missouri, when healthy at the beginning of the season, even up to when they played us, they were the better team. But, again, had injuries, had a four-string quarterback. Virginia got the win. But the point I'm making is that when you're trying to base which team is better in college football off of a 12-game schedule, it's a lot harder. It's still hard in basketball, 31 games. I'm just saying that 31 games is a much bigger sample size. So you go in a lot of games, a lot of high major opponents in the non-conference, a lot of quality games in conference if you're in the Power Four. It's just in football, you don't have that. So you go 9-3, you're out. It doesn't matter who you play. So that's why they want to make the schedules easier. I don't blame them. They do, but it sucks. It sucks for the sport. It sucks for you, Jackson, who wants these games. You want these rivalry games. I want them. But that's why they're getting rid of him. Stop blaming Sophos. Start blaming playoff. It's the playoff, man. I keep telling you, it's the playoff. No one wants to blame the playoff, but it's the playoff. If it wasn't for the playoff, if we went back to the BCS, went back to the BCS where only two teams could make the national championship game and we called it a day, I can guarantee you that no one will be having a problem playing these tough non-conference games because every single team outside of two is not making the natty game.
I want Alabama
want to make the playoffs. That is why they're getting rid of these games.
And I'm probably like one of the few people that wants to see like an Alabama but that's okay, if I'm like, because I mean it's always good to stand out, of course. But I mean, I like to see. I want to see like a non-conference schedule for Alabama that looks like something from 1977 and 1978. Like I don't know why, but it's just I want to see something like that so bad. But I know that ship has sailed, of course. But Michigander 1212 for the $2 super chat, where he says Bama got the schedule lottery win like Penn State. I'm like, well, we appreciate $2 super chat. We appreciate that very much. Oh man, Penn State. But that ship is sailing on them wanting to play Pitt. I'm just like, go do whatever you want.
No, they don't care about Pitt.
They should though. Maybe the Pennsylvania governor should step in. That'd be nice.
Sure, but no. I mean, like you saw what happened with Lane. So I mean, like, what are we doing? I do want to respond to Austin's question about thoughts on Trinidad Chambliss getting another year. My thoughts on Trinidad Chambliss getting another year. That's fine. For one, I don't know why he just doesn't go pro, because he could, but he get drafted pretty high too, probably. But what makes no sense to me is the fact that he's been denied 3 times. And yet now he's not denied. I mean, who's to say, okay, halfway during next season, he's re-denied? I mean, like Bediako. Okay, Bediako is able to come back and play in college basketball, even though he was in the G League. Now he's not able to play anymore. And it's like, okay, yeah, Alabama's wins should be vacated. You know what? The Bediako thing should have never happened, because all they had to do was not allow him to play. It should have never even gone to court. We all know that if you go pro, you're not supposed to play anymore. We know this. So what was the problem? Why did that even happen in the first place? And I know people are going to tell me, well, Jeffrey, a court judge guy that likes Alabama or whatever, I don't know the full details, but there's some connection to Bama, or he likes Bama or whatever, is who ruled that Bediako could play. Okay. They should have never come to that. We know the rules. If you declare for the draft and you go pro, you're done. So I don't understand it. I don't understand why Chambliss has tried 3 times to get another year of eligibility. Was denied over and over and over. But now he's not denied. You can't make this up. Plus, it doesn't even make any sense anyway. Because at least with Chambliss, you can kind of argue, well, he had 2 years at the junior college level, and then he got 4 years of the big leagues. Great. But there's guys right now like TJ Finley getting his 7th year. I read that there's a dude playing for Montana, the Grizzlies, that's getting a 9th year. What are we doing? So why is he getting a 9th year? And that's okay. But then Chambliss trying to get a 6th year with 4 of them being at the NCAA level, and he got denied 3 times. Which, if you denied him 3 times, he shouldn't have been allowed to do it this time, because that's the whole point of reason you denied him the first 3 times. But the NCAA, it's all over the place, Jackson. It doesn't even make any sense. They're all over the place with these rules. Charles Bediako played 5 games for Alabama basketball. 5. And now he's ineligible again. He should have never been eligible to begin with. And now I'm reading. There was a tweet earlier. Let me find it. Because this is actually crazy.
Well, while Jeffrey is finding the tweet, we will go ahead and bring on our first caller. You know him and you love him. He's got an amazing hat, and he's got that awesome beard. The Godfather of the SEC. How you doing tonight, good buddy?
What's the word? What's the word tonight?
Oh man, it's going all right. We've got ourselves another fun-filled night tonight. It's gonna be a wild ride. Oh, let's go ahead and see.
This guy. So this guy right here, 25-year-old pro, Kyrie Walker, on his official visit to Maryland. Walker is a class of 2020 high school graduate who initially bypassed college to pursue a professional career.
Yeah.
What are we doing? He still has eligibility. Yeah, because he skipped college. What are we doing?
Tell him, Jeffrey.
This is why nobody is taking any of this junk seriously anymore. Okay, Chambliss was denied. Now he can play. Bediako, ineligible, eligible, ineligible. Should have never been eligible. He declared for the draft. He didn't get drafted. He was in the G League. It should have been over. And this guy right here that I just had on screen should not be in college basketball after the fact he decided when he graduated out of high school to skip college. That doesn't even make any sense. He's been playing professional basketball for 5 years, and now it's like, I think I want to go play college basketball. I wonder why. I mean, I could respect it if it was like, okay, maybe I want to get a degree. Maybe, but no, it's because of the NIL. And I don't blame dude, but he should not be eligible. And if they allow that guy to play, then okay, what are we doing? Again, I'm sorry, but this eligibility stuff has gotten out of hand. It don't even make any sense, dude. It doesn't make any sense.
Let me get my fire extinguisher. Jeffrey, your hat's smoking.
I appreciate it, but you got to admit it's insane. It is absolutely insane.
I know.
Joey Aguilar, we're still waiting on him.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So if Chambliss has been denied, and now it's okay, then they'll probably let him play. Well, why don't they just let Pavia play? What are we doing? They denied him. Why don't they just let him play? Is he just going to keep fighting? And then in like April like 29th or something, it will be like, oh, he actually can play now because he sued like 10 times. And on the 10th time, he can play now.
Oh, man.
They wouldn't let me play high school football because I stayed
Most
8
Graceville
years in the
love
9th
it.
grade. I mean, 8 years, 8 years of my life in the 9th grade. They wouldn't let me play. So,
Oh, matter of fact,
shame on me.
we'll spotlight our first caller for the moment, because there's a question for you, Godfather.
Can't read that. I can't read that. Lay it on me. What's the word? What's
Well,
the word?
Austin
What
says,
the heck is that, Godfather? A fox? I'm worried for you. I think he's talking about your hat.
That's a coonskin hat.
oh, man.
Nice.
Love it.
Don't make me go hill on you, Austin.
Oh, man. It looks like one of those hats that's like mixed in from Davy Crockett and Fat Albert. Like where one of the Cosby kids is wearing it. Like, that's pretty cool.
See the tail?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Austin, you been down in the sun, little boy?
It reminds me of Where the Red Fern Grows, if anybody's ever read that.
Good one.
Yep, I love that book.
Think about it,
I
though.
love the movie as well.
Look pretty good for $10. Does it
Yeah,
look
it's great. Fantastic.
Love it.
$10. I wouldn't. It looked pretty good for $10. I thought.
Oh, for sure, man.
Don't send it to you, Jeffrey, and let you wear it. But Jackson and
I think everybody wants to see the signature hat, though. I'm not gonna
There we
lie.
go.
Yeah.
And we got another super chat from Michigander for $5 where he says college football needs a committee with little ties to major programs, so little bias, with a president that will listen to the fans but also make smart decisions. I feel like the committee, it's like I'm not so sure how I'm feeling about athletic directors being.
The problem is, Jackson, is that we've gotten to the point where college sports has dramatically changed so much in the last 5 to 7 years that most people now just accept this stuff. And what I mean by that is that it's normal now. And the problem with that is how used to people would be appalled by even a tenth of what's going on right now. It'd be like, what's going on? Now that it's just so bizarre, so crazy. It kind of reminds me of like Mordecai and Rigby in Regular Show by like season 6 or 7, when they're like, yeah, we're just used to this stuff happening every episode. It's like, yeah, because it's not a surprise anymore.
No.
Keeps happening. The fact that I'm like, yeah, on April 29th, Diego Pavia might actually be eligible now. The fact that I'm saying that and stuff like that is why everybody's just like, it's okay. And then when I talk about this stuff, especially on Wonderful X, when I talk about this stuff, then I'll have a bunch of people say, well, Jeffrey, this stuff is okay. No, it's not. Just because it's happening doesn't mean it's okay. And it's okay if you feel like it's okay. That's your opinion. But the only reason that you feel like it's okay, because it's not okay, is because it's been going on and it's just progressively getting.
You're so used to it, you know.
And yeah, getting used to it. It's not normal, man. It is not normal for college sports to be this completely crazy. And that's what it is. And I just can't believe that more people actually don't seem to want it to go back. I mean, it's become like a soap opera drama show where everybody, I mean, people are just glued to social media like, what's going to happen next? I cannot wait for, it's like, dude, the off season is supposed to be the off season. I remember when I was a kid and the off season came and I didn't think about sports until the preseason came. I didn't think about it. I mean, maybe like a couple months go by and I'm like, man, I can't wait for college football to come back. We're literally supposed to be in the dead of off season right now. NFL's over. You got college basketball right now. But like, if you're a football fan, it's supposed to be dead. And yet we still have tons to talk about. There's so much stuff going on. We'll never run out of news. And that's good because it's entertaining, right? But it's not good because it shows you how dysfunctional and completely messed up the NCAA and college sports actually is. And a lot of people aren't talking about it because they actually, I think, like this. They like the craziness. And I ain't gonna lie. Some of it is kind of hilarious how messed up it is. But then you just get to the point where like the Bediako thing, and it's just, I'm done. No. Like that, the fact that we allowed a guy that declared for the draft and has played professional basketball for years to come back and play 5 games before we now rule that he can't play, which we already knew that he shouldn't be able to play at all, is insane. I don't know. Like, I keep harping on it because I don't understand why we got to this point. All because 5-7 years ago, yeah, let's get rid of the rule where the transfer portal. You can transfer every year now instead of sitting out. Maybe that rule made sense. Maybe that rule actually made sense. Or NIL. People like NIL's good so they can get paid. That's fine, but how they're getting paid. Breaking contracts. Darian Mensah. Oh, I want to go to Miami because I want to get drafted in the first round. You do realize, guy, that Daniel Jones got drafted in the first round at Duke. Okay, it's not impossible. I think you were fine. But no, because NIL. And again, I don't blame Mensah, but how that entire situation was handled was horrible. And you can't say anything else about it. It was horrible. So I don't understand it. People are just like, Miami's like, yeah, we're okay. We got Mensah. It's okay that we stole him and tampered, and so it's good. No, it's not. It's not good. It's only good because you got him. And it's only good because the NCAA is absolutely spineless. Ain't even the word. There's just nothing. It's like a big abyss. There's you just got this like big landscape and there's nothing. You just got a bunch of stuff happening and there's nothing. There's no rule, law, or anything. It's just a big open space. That's what it is. And it makes no sense. Like, I'm actually surprised they re-ruled that Bediako was ineligible again. I'm shocked, man, because everything goes at this point. And it still cracks me up that back in 2008, Kelvin Sampson got fired at Indiana over some phone calls. Mm-hmm. Oh, there was not even any money involved. Oh, yeah, Eric Gordon, I know you're committed to Illinois, but commit to Indiana. Really? That was 18 years ago. I was alive. That was 18 years ago. And then Reggie Bush. Oh, yeah. Reggie Bush doesn't get the Heisman, actually, because of the fact that he got like 10 grand. That was like 20 years ago. Remember, Penny Hardaway a few years ago was on the chopping block because, he paid for James Wiseman to move. This was like 3 or 4 years ago. And now, I'm making like $5 million a year at Duke, but you know what? I want to get drafted in the first round. Let me go to Miami. Yeah, you really do want to get drafted in the first round. It has all to do with that. Yeah, again, makes 0 sense. It's complete insanity, and I don't understand why people are okay with it. And if you just like it for the drama, okay, that's fine. But if you actually think all this is all right and good, I don't know. It's only going to get crazier from here. If nothing happens, if nothing stops this junk, you will see people like LeBron James in college basketball. You will see, because why not? Because think about it. Think about this. Because we've already been talking about how these NIL deals are they're worth more than getting drafted. That's why Dante Moore's coming back. Why wouldn't the pro people want to come back? Like, well, I could school those boys. I can completely beat them because I'm better than them. And I can make more. Why wouldn't they want to do it? If the NCAA is going to allow it, then you could have 33 and 32 and 35-year-old NBA and NFL players wanting to come back to college because it's easier for them to be good and they're making more. And if we get to that point, it's over. You can't, if you call it college basketball at that point, all you have to do is just call it substitute to NBA, substitute to NFL. It's just another league like the UFL because that ain't college. It's not college if you're going to allow that stuff to happen. I mean, we're getting close to that because you just think about it. Why does Charles Bediako why did he want to come back to them? Why is that guy that I just had on the screen earlier that skipped college now wanting to play? The reason he skipped college initially was because of the fact that when the NIL was first starting, he was going to make more money playing overseas. That's why he did that.
He never
went pro because he wasn't good enough. which is sad on him that he wasn't good enough.
You know what it
but
feels
now he
like
can
to
make more in
me?
college, and that's why he's wanting to come back. It's not about the college experience. He's wanting to make more money, and that is why. And I'm sorry, I don't blame these players for wanting to do it, but that is what's messing up the sport, man. It's messing up the sport. It's just not the way. It's not college athletics anymore. It's just not. I know you want to go, Jackson, so I'm about done. But what are your thoughts on that? Because I know you want to move on to something else, but what are your thoughts about what I just said?
Kind of feels like that Bad Words movie from Jason Bateman, where he's just like a grown man, just like realizing, oh, I'm eligible to enter an 8th grade spelling bee. I mean, he's really just kind of doing it to make his dad angry, like the guy that left it. But anyway, it's like I'm kind of wonder if something like that. I feel like there's something like that happened where it's like it just feels like we're in a movie where we're seeing a 30-something-year-old be like, oh wow, I got 1 year left. I go back. Where it's just, it just kind of feels like that. But just kind of like, but it's just I'll tell you what got me pretty excited Wednesday morning. Spring game is near April 11th. So
and my takeaway on that is I'm glad we still are having a spring game. Because a lot of the universities we're not wanting to have a spring game anymore. Having a lot of them, Jackson, if I do recall, they canceled their spring games. They're no longer having them, at least at Alabama. Even if we're not elite anymore and we're becoming the next Clemson, we still are having an A-Day. Thank goodness. Thank goodness for some semblance of normal that we actually are having a spring game. That's my takeaway on that. I'm glad we're having a spring game.
Well, because it's like I think it was because the fact that we're not having the portal in May, that there's like I believe that there's like only one portal, which is which I mean I really think they shouldn't be having a January portal. They should just move it to May. That way, it's like there you go.
Well, yeah, I mean it's insane when you've got the bowl games and you've got all this stuff going on. It's like, oh well, I'm entering the portal. I mean, it was so funny, Jackson, that so many of the players we were talking about guys entering the portal before the portal opened, like 2 weeks. Even like a week to up to 2 weeks before the portal even opened, we were already like, yeah, that guy's entering the portal.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
they moved it to May, like you said, then you would hopefully have more guys that would play in the bowl game. I don't think they're going to do that. They're not going to do that. But it would be great if they did. It would. I think it would be better to have the portal. It needs to be after the season, man. And the other problem, too, is that you notice how far they've stretched the playoff out now. So, like the national championship game, it's getting closer and closer to February. What are we doing? Why are we doing that either? Again, I don't know.
I just want the national title to be on a Saturday and not on a Monday night because like don't get me wrong, like it's like I can deal with it. I know we can like we're happy, like we're always like all of us here, and I know a lot of you in the chat are always like we're all looking forward to the national championship. It's just I don't like the idea of it being on Monday night. I know it's been on there since the 2006 season, with the exception of 2008, 2009, which was on a Thursday night. But other than that, I don't like the idea of the Natty being on a Monday night. It feels like it should be Saturday night instead. And if you're worried about it compete with the NFL, well, then here's what you do. Put the Saturday night playoff game, move it up to noon Eastern time, 11 a.m. Central, or 11:30 a.m. Central, 12:30 Eastern time p.m. on that Saturday, or you get the Monday night spotlight to yourself. I mean, I want to hear some Joe Buck, Troy Aikman on Monday night. I mean, that'd be all right with me.
Completely reasonable take, Jackson, and I did not disagree with any word that you just said, but it all comes back down to this again. The NFL, they want to make the absolute most money they can. and they're not going to move
Oh,
that.
no, don't do that to Fran Tarkenton. I mean, don't do that to him because, first of all, I think he's exhausted his eligibility. And secondly, I don't think Georgia's QB situation is that bad.
Yeah, that's funny.
But it would be funny, though, if he did somehow and just kind of told him about, like, hanging with the boys back in 1960 and, you know, what it was like watching only 3 channels. Like, that'd be cool. Like,
problem is Troy Visa wishes New Year's around that. They've expanded the playoffs so much that they got to play all these games now to get to the Natty. So the national championship game is always going to be in late January. If it moves to February, then okay. Like no, just no. The Super Bowl's in February. The national championship game is supposed to be in January. If it moves to February, like if they expanded to 24 teams or whatever, then you might have that result. And that gap at the beginning, the first round to the next, like you think about the amount of time between the Big Ten championship, SEC championship, all the championship games, and when those bye teams played, that is just a ridiculous amount of time. Only Indiana has won. The teams with the byes are 1-7. It's so funny to me. It cracks me up how literally everyone was talking about the bye thing, and then Indiana beat Alabama, and guess what? No one was talking about the bye thing anymore. I still think the bye thing's a problem. I really do. You should not have a month off between games. That is insane. That is absolutely insane. Pretty much was a month off. It was like 25 days or so, 24, 25 days between the Big Ten and SEC and all those championship games and when Indiana and Ohio State and all those teams play. That is way too long. That gap is way too long. And that is a big reason you got your national championship game being January 19th and 20th and all that. Because of that gap. It's ridiculous. I mean, I even saw that next year, the Super Bowl, isn't it going to be something on Valentine's Day? It's like
I'm okay with that.
I mean, I'm not okay with that, but it's just everything's just getting stretched further and further, though. It's like they're just milking every bit of time possible for this. I mean, I get it. You want to get in as much money as possible, but at the same time, it's like, do you have to milk it that far?
Yeah.
I don't know, man. It's just college football, man. It's like the national championship game almost being in February. It's kind of dumb. It really is.
Yeah. Will be in February when you go 16 teams. Probably will be February.
Yeah, especially 24. If it goes to a 24-team playoff, it's going to be in February. It's going to be like February 3rd.
Probably.
Yeah. And it's cracking me up, too, because like I said, and I said this a few shows ago, because they've expanded the playoffs, now you're starting to see the Georgias and the Ohio States and these other big programs get upset because they're getting beat now. And that's funny. Because oh, well, you know, you got to expand the playoffs and the same teams are going to win it every year, right? Well, Indiana disproved that this year. I don't know what's going to happen next year. Maybe it goes back to being an Ohio State or a Georgia or whatever. But the fact that those teams lost, they're like, man, I wish it was a 4-team playoff again. Well, you can't have it both ways. You either want the 4-team playoff or the BCS, or you want this big, massive conglomeration of a playoff where you have more opportunities to lose. That's just life. The more games you add, the better shot you're going to have to lose because you ain't perfect. You ain't going to keep winning. So it just cracked me out. I saw so many Georgia fans whining and complaining, oh, my gosh, the expanded playoff, we can't even make it to the Natty game. It's like, shouldn't that not be a prop since you're better than everybody else? Again, these people are being very hypocritical when they say this stuff. It's like, if you're better, if you're supposed to be the best team in college football, then shouldn't you beat all these teams? But, oh, it's harder to make it because it's more. Yeah, that's called football. You added the games. Like the NFL, they were trying to add an 18th regular season. Why are we trying to add an 18th regular season game?
What I want the NFL to do is
stop adding more regular season games.
Yes, that. But also get rid of ties. I'm sick of that. I'm sick of ties.
I'm not even as mad about the ties because the ties are kind of funny. It's really funny when the Cowboys were 3-4-1. I just thought that was really entertaining. That was kind of funny.
The only tie I really like is the Raiders Chargers from 2021. Even though that didn't happen because not so much of like the game itself, but because it would have resulted in both teams making the playoffs over the Steelers. That's the only time I even like any possibility.
Jackson just wanted Mike Tomlin gone earlier. I see how it is.
Well, no, that's not why. It's just I just I just want to see some bad luck teams get some good luck for once. Steelers always get a lot of things, but like Raiders are not what they were in the 60s, 70s, and they're not going to be. But
No, well, I mean, if you've seen their draft selections in the last 20 years, and it's
they're-
so funny because I really hope the Raiders actually get rid of the Fernando Mendoza pick, and I hope Fernando Mendoza balls out wherever he goes, and then it's going to be yet another blunder for the Raiders. Because you think about the amount of first-round draft picks they've had. I actually went back one time, and I looked at all their first-round draft picks from like the last 20 years, and basically all of them have been horrible. They don't know how to draft. And if they're getting rid of Mendoza, then that shows you that Mendoza's good because they don't know what they're doing. I'm sorry, Raiders, but you don't know what you're doing. You've been making mistakes for decades. You don't know how to draft. You get rid of the good players you have. You waste the entire careers of people like Max Crosby. And they completely tarnished Derek Carr's name, and he wasn't even that bad. So it's like, okay, you kind of suck. And yeah, Geno Smith is not good, but you saw what happened to Geno Smith when he went to the Raiders.
yeah.
Yeah, so I kind of don't want Mendoza to go there. If he goes there, then build a team around him, kind of like what the Panthers are trying to do with Bryce. Actually, the Panthers are getting a little bit better, which is cool. But, I mean, if the Raiders are just going to draft Mendoza and then they're just going to suck, then I don't want them to draft Mendoza. You've got to make an effort to get better. The Raiders don't do that. The Jets don't do that. And the Browns don't do that. To me, and the Titans are kind of getting there. Dude, those organizations just suck. They are horrible. They are horribly run. They never get better. And everybody they draft either turns out to be garbage or when they get rid of them, then they're great. Look at Darnold. Sam Darnold is actually not bad. He's not bad. And it's like he sucked at the Jets. It's because the Jets suck. Maybe Mark Sanchez wasn't that bad. And I don't know. Like Mark Sanchez wasn't great either. But it's like maybe it's just because the Jets weren't good.
Sanchez is going.
I'm not talking about what's going on now. I'm talking about
Sanchez. I think is going to the Hooskow.
I was talking about when he played. I mean, Mark Sanchez got ripped when he played. Like, oh, he's like the worst quarterback ever. It's like the Jets just aren't good, man. Like, I don't hate those organizations. It's just like you got to try to do better, man. Like, you cannot continue to be bad and just expect your fans to be okay with that. It should cycle out. Like, you have about 5 or 7 bad years, and then you get better. It's supposed to, like, but now you got the Patriots being good again, and all those teams are horrible still. So it's like you're not getting any better.
I will say, I'm really I've got a good feeling that the portal additions on offensive line will add up for the Crimson Tide. I'm getting pretty excited about what the offensive line can bring, which, I mean, it should be a lot better than it was last season for sure. Well, Godfather, what you got on your mind, man?
Jeffrey from Only Talk Sports, where he talks sports every day, or he tries to. He made up for it tonight. There it is, everybody. Who picked you off tonight, Jeffrey? I wasn't on here. Who made you mad?
I'm all right. It's just reacting to people's takes on the craziness going on right now in the sports world and stuff. It's just like I agree with some people, and again, I think some people it's funny that that they're just finding dramatic irony on everything going on, but at the same time, it's just some people actually are like they love this junk and they hope that college football gets even crazier. And I'm like, crazy is not bad, but off the deep end is different. Like we've talked about, like Jackson just said about Alabama's O-line. You want it to get better. You don't want it to get worse. Mm-hmm. And we're trying to make it better. We don't want to be Clemson 2.0. And I hate to keep saying Clemson 2.0, but it's just such an obvious comp because everybody's like, well, Clemson fell off. Who's going to be next? I mean, you don't want to trend in that direction. I mean, 11th in the odds on FanDuel and other issues. Like, we have literally like no experience for next year. I think that's the biggest flaw with next year's team is we barely got any seniors. That's not great. You kind of want older guys. I mean, you kind of saw that Miami and Indiana had a lot of older guys. I'm not saying that didn't hurt.
Godfather, how you feeling about a spring game coming up in a couple months?
We got a new tight ends coach. I didn't really think they'd have it this year. I thought they might cancel it, but I guess they're going to have it. It's got it scheduled for April 11th, I guess, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a week after Easter. That's going to be pretty cool right there.
They're actually going to televise it because I know like a lot of times it hasn't been televised,
I don't know. Probably not.
We've not heard anything yet about that, but I think after a lot of the uproar on not just what was going on with Alabama, but a lot of other teams, I think like it resulted in like one window for the portal, and there's not going to be a portal window for the spring. So I think they were kind of like, okay, teams are canceling spring games or not showing their spring games. We can't have that. So I'm thinking what's going to happen is more teams are going to be airing their spring games like they were 2024 and the years before that, instead of it being like last year where it's just a bad storm right there.
I mean, the thing is, like, televising your spring game. How does that hurt? Like, oh, they're gonna know the blueprint. They're gonna like what? It's a spring game. You're getting your guys out there on the field. And I feel like in this era of the portal, where you're adding so many new players, that would be beneficial. You don't have to run the playbook. Just run simple stuff. You know, like playing Madden, instead of playing the advanced plays, you're playing the basic plays, where it's the same 3 plays you run on defense and offense every time. It just you don't have to do anything special here. It's just you get out on the field, you just kind of seeing where you're at. You know, it gets the fans hyped up too. You know, hey, it's the first time I get to see these guys. You know, especially because again, the teams are changing every year. You don't even know who you got, so it's like you kind of want to see them. You know, I don't know. I think that all the universities should have a spring game, and having it televised doesn't hurt. I mean, it's more money, it's more eyeballs. It's people will watch it. Trust me, people will watch it.
People getting hurt. That's one reason I don't want to do it. Injuries. They can't get somebody well before the fall, or somebody pops a knee or breaks an ankle, or they can't get them ready for the fall.
You can do that in practice, so that's the thing that's so problematic with that mindset. It's like you can get hurt in practice. How many players have we heard like a week before the season, oh, they tore their ACL in practice? You can get hurt in practice. What are they going to do now? Oh, you can't practice? You have to practice. If you don't practice, then you can't get better. If you don't train and work out, like you could be, doing pull-ups on the bar and tear your rotator cuff or something. I mean, anything can happen to you. Our bodies have flaws. They're not perfect. They can get injured. They can get hurt. To me, that's just poor mindset. You don't overtrain. And during the spring game, obviously, like, don't hit like you would an opponent. But, like, if you're so worried about getting hurt, you can get hurt in practice.
Well,
you can get hurt in the game when the season comes along. I don't know, man.
They're unlearning on one another because they're so afraid that the next guy's going to take their job. So they got to get out there and hit somebody. So I don't know, man. It's a mess. NCAA. I mean,
they should play the spring games, in my opinion, and they should at least be as close to an actual game as possible. Like, you don't have to hit hard, just play. I mean, like the Pro Bowl's gone. I mean, that like, because they don't play anymore. It's just they play some touch football stuff. Yeah, literally, like Michigander says you can get hurt slipping on ice just walking outside on your porch. Absolutely. Do you remember before the playoffs a couple years ago, Jaylen Brown for the Celtics hurt his hand trimming his bushes? Dude. Oh, Jaylen Brown shouldn't have been trimming his bushes. He should have had somebody else do it.
Yeah.
What? It was an accidental thing. It's called life. Okay? It happens. Like, I don't like, everybody's like, oh, you shouldn't have spring game. Oh, coaches need to lighten up on the practices. Like, it's football, man. When you sign up to play, you could get hurt. If I signed up to play tomorrow and I got hit by any of the Alabama players, I'd be on the ground. We'd all be on the ground. We'd be history. That's why we don't sign up to play, and they do. They know the risk. I mean, they don't sign a waiver that says, I know I can get hurt, but I'll play anyway. But they know that. That's football. If you take out all of the plays where they can get hurt, then it ain't football anymore. I'm sorry, but it ain't. That's why nobody cares about the Pro Bowl anymore, because it's not a game. It's just, touch football. No one wants to see that, though, man. I mean, yeah, did Sean Taylor have to hit that hard in the 2006 Pro Bowl? No, but after that play, nobody's cared about it anymore. because nobody does anything anymore. It's just a game where we allow Shedeur Sanders to make the Pro Bowl and throw 3 interceptions in a game where no one's trying. Yeah, you kind of suck, man. So sorry, but like he should have never made the Pro Bowl. What are we doing? Oof. It doesn't matter. Like, these games don't matter. I mean, the spring game doesn't have to matter that much, but if you're not gonna at least have as close to an actual game as possible, then you shouldn't have the games. But I want the games because you should have the games. You should have spring football where we can see these players for the first time and they can get accustomed to their teammates. They should. I don't know. I guess that's just not good mindset anymore. It's all about, well, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that because you can get hurt. Well, the same people that are saying that are the same people advocating for, the NFL needs to add an 18th game. The playoff needs to expand to 24. We can have more games where players can get hurt. That makes no sense. You can't advocate for players not wanting to get hurt in a spring game, but you're adding extra games where they can get hurt.
Well, what else you got on your mind, Godfather?
You got any response to that, Jackson? I mean, I'm spitballing here.
I know.
Jeffrey's on the road.
Sorry, I'm just saying. Was that wrong?
Nah.
Austin, did you piss Jeffrey off?
No.
Okay.
Nah.
I'm fine. I'm having fun. I appreciate everybody. I'm just saying though, like some of this stuff is like I don't know.
He's ready. Call in, Austin. You gotta have somebody. Jeffrey,
we got Austin coming up after Darrell for sure.
We got Darrell coming on. Great.
Darrell's coming on. Darrell, I'm gonna get off here.
That's gonna be fun. I love it when me and Darrell have our conversation.
Well, Godfather, we'll be seeing you soon. You stay safe, stay warm. It's cold out, man.
All right, I'm gonna send this thing to you, Jeffrey, where you can wear it next week.
I appreciate it, Godfather.
You have this.
You have a great night. And keep wearing the hat. It's great.
Yeah, I know. It's really hilarious. Y'all be good. I'll see y'all later on. Be good.
Stay soon, good buddy. And we've got a stat lineup tonight, and the call-in link is in the chat, and it's in the description page. So if you want to come on in and give us a call-in link is all right there. And next up is Darrell MVP. How you doing tonight, good buddy?
I'm doing well. I mean, this peak off-season talk right here, we're talking about the Pro Bowl, a game in which they literally just run around and score 70 points. I mean...
And Shedeur Sanders is invited despite throwing 7 touchdowns and 12 interceptions.
I mean, Tyler Huntley was invited the year before, and he's a backup quarterback.
I don't know. I was less mad about that. I don't know, man.
Oh, man. I
Nothing against Shedeur. It's just that dude is not Pro Bowl material. Like,
Tyler Huntley. There's been a bunch of scrubs playing pro. Mac Jones was a Pro Bowl quarterback. So there's a bunch of scrubs.
Bryce Young didn't even make the Pro Bowl.
I know.
How did Bryce Young not make the Pro Bowl, but Shedeur did? Bryce Young actually led his team to the playoffs.
Bryce Young,
more touchdowns than picks.
Well, it's NFC versus AFC. NFC versus AFC, and a bunch of the AFC guys were hurt as well. Slash are too rich and too elite not to play because, they're better than the Pro Bowl, unfortunately. But I was wanting to actually discuss a bit of Bama football, if that's okay with you, gentlemen.
That's all right.
Alabama Crimson Tide, a lot of people are calling them scared, but I call it tactical genius by canceling the Ohio State series. Listen, if all we're doing is saying, hey, we're taking the 12 best records, the team I would almost want to avoid is Ohio State. Like, there's a team in the country of teams I would least like to play if all we're doing is going by you are what your record says you are. Ohio State might be the least likely team I want to play. So, listen, I hate that this is the way it's going, but actions have consequences. Texas should have been in the playoffs, guys. But what's your thoughts about the series being canceled?
Yeah, I agree with you 100%, Darrell, and you just echoed my exact thoughts, but you said them in your way instead of the way that I say it because we're all different. But I agree with you 110%. You said Texas should have been in the playoffs, and they didn't get in because of the Ohio State game, and there you go. That's why they don't want to play. That's why Alabama don't want to play the game. It's not because they're soft or scared or they can't play with Ohio State. It's because if they go 10-2 in the SEC, well, okay, 10 and back. 7-2 in the ACC, or what am I saying? 7-2 in the SEC, and they go 9-3 overall with a loss to Ohio State, then they miss the playoffs. Why would you want to do that when you could go 10-2 and you go 7-2 because it used to be 6-2, but now 7-2 because they're playing 9 games now, 7-2 in the SEC, and you're in. You could play Ferris State, where Trinidad was from, Incarnate Word, where Cam Ward was from, and Eastern Illinois, where Tony Romo was from, and then go 7-2 in the SEC, and you're going to make the playoffs. So there's no point in playing Ohio State. I'm against canceling the game because I would actually like to see that game, but you got to get rid of the playoffs. And that's not going to happen. We're never going to get rid of the playoffs. You go back to the BCS, it doesn't matter because only 2 teams make it. That's what I said. That's my explanation. That's why what I said was different than what you said, but both of what we said is in agreement. Absolutely.
Yeah. I'll slightly disagree with you on the finer details of it, Jeffrey. I think Texas and Ohio State or Alabama and Ohio State matchups are necessary because if you want to distinguish yourself in a 2 team, you have to beat an elite team. But in 12, you don't have to beat an elite team. No. And I do think there is a slight way to salvage this, and that is to use a ton of metrics to pump in the system in order to get rid of the record.
And that's what college basketball does.
Yes, we have to use college basketball's metrics to determine it.
The problem is, Drill, is because they play 31 games. College ball only plays 12, so even metrics are going to be more flawed with less data. I
understand that, but at least you get a more accurate picture than your stupid record.
I agree, but it's still college basketball works because you have so much data. You have so many games.
Oh, I would listen. If we're in a video game, I would have them play a round-robin tournament of 100 and some games. But unfortunately, we can't live in that world.
I mean, literally, like any class, high school or college, any class will tell you the more data that you have, the more accurate the data is.
Right.
It's just the way that it is.
I'm just trying to make the best out of the situation what we have, which is we're only going to play 12 or 13 games at most. So we have to, if we're not going to account for any strength of schedule, this is the end product. Like Mississippi State, Texas Tech canceled today. I mean, nobody cares about that because it's Mississippi State, Texas Tech.
I mean, if Texas Tech is so good, shouldn't they be able to steamroll them? I mean,
because it's like the Blue Bloods. I can deal with people kind of getting on to the Blue Blood schools, like Alabama's, the Ohio State's, the Texas of the world. But like the Mississippi State schools, I never get on to the Mississippi States or the Wake Forests of the world. And I don't really get on to Indiana that much, although I will, sorry in advance, Jeffrey. I do kind of laugh at them about the whole canceling home and home in Virginia last year because I'm like, dang. But then I'm thinking to myself, oh, you must have seen something we didn't.
I mean, Kurt Signetti understands the system.
Yeah, he outsmarted the system.
I mean, that's why he won a national championship because he's a smart coach. I mean, you know what I'm saying here? I agree with you, Jax. I do. But, again, the current format and the current rules, Indiana beating Bowling Green does the exact same thing as beating Virginia.
Mm-hmm.
It just does. So, why make it tougher on yourself?
Right. It's actually
soft. It's just why make it tougher on yourself.
The actual point is it's literally impossible for Indiana to do better than what they did this season because they were ranked number 1 despite playing nobody in non-conference play. So there isn't even like a hypothetical argument that can be used against Indiana. So I think that was which really damaging to the system. But
yeah, they went undefeated. So it's like they literally were number 1 by default because they won all their games.
I know, but what if the committee, and this is just a crazy idea, says, you know what, Indiana, I know you went 12-0. You beat Ohio State. That's a great game. You didn't play anyone out in non-conference games. Georgia beat everyone they played on their schedule. They only lost 1 game. Georgia, you're number 1. Indiana, you're number 2.
I think the problem is because we already have that system in a lot of sports, including college football, where UCF went undefeated and they got that claimed national championship in 2017 thing on their wall, but they didn't win the Natty because
they still wouldn't make the playoffs in a 12-team model, by the way.
So the rankings told them, hey, UCF, cute story. Mackenzie Milton in his heyday was great. Scott Frost, when he actually was good at coaching, I guess. I don't know. I mean, I think he was good then. Point is, they were good, and Scott Frost was on fire. I mean, they were amazing back then, and they went 13-0, and they beat Auburn. It was great, but they were not the best team in college football. Everybody knew that they weren't the best team in college football, and that's why they didn't, make the playoffs and people, whatever. And Miami, Ohio right now. People love Miami, Ohio. They're undefeated. They're the only undefeated team in college basketball right now, but they're not ranked number 1 because they didn't play anybody. They play nobody. Their non-conference schedule is trash. The MAC sucks, and they're winning games by 2 points, and it's great, and it's a great story, but they ain't number 1. The difference with Indiana is that because they're in the Big Ten and because they played Oregon twice and won, and Bama and Ohio State and all that.
Let's get rid of the postseason.
Number 1. But if Indiana was in the MAC and they went undefeated, then they would. I know where you're coming from. I get what you're saying. I'm just saying that's the difference between Indiana and Miami, Ohio.
Oh, I agree. There's a massive gap, and it should be implemented between the G5 or the G6 and the Power 4, no doubt. But there also needs to be implementations within the Power 4 because not all Power 4 schedules are created equally. Like if it was me, I would have had Texas A&M out of the playoffs. Sorry, you played 2 good teams, went 1-1, got boat raced by Texas. You're out Texas. That's the type of radical change I think we need to have in order to incentivize high level matchups.
I think the problem is, Darrell, though, is that the A&M, it was not their fault that all
doesn't matter.
The SEC that they played were bad. And how you fix that problem is to get rid of the conferences being this bloated. If you had smaller conferences where basically every team played every team in the conference, then you could actually determine whether they're good or not.
Yes, but I don't think that's a realistic solution. It's
not a realistic solution, but I'm just saying that A&M had the easiest schedule in the SEC.
Right. And that's why they got easily made
it. Conference, bring back the old Big East, but make sure to put Penn State in the old Big East.
I agree with you that they shouldn't have made the playoffs probably. I'm just saying that the problem is they played their schedule and they won 11-1. So
yeah, I don't care. I don't care they won 11-1. The metrics also support the argument that Texas A&M is a worse team than Texas, by the way. Despite a 2-game.
You don't want to turn down a team that beat Notre Dame and South Bend on a Saturday.
I just think the problem is because of the fact that since we've expanded the conferences, but we expanded the conference. We've expanded the playoffs, so it allows for worse teams to get in, which people complain about, which we already knew was going to happen when you expanded the playoffs. And you've expanded these conferences so much that now you've got such uneven schedules. And that who knew that was going to happen? Wow, I would have never have known that
basic statistics
scheduling with bigger conferences.
Yeah, basic statistics would have said that. And there's a comment by Michigander, and I've been advocating for the SEC to do this just to really shove it to the playoff. Have the top half of the SEC play the bottom half of the SEC exclusively. Make it to where there's 8 teams in the SEC that go undefeated or 12-1, and force them to put all of them in there. That's the problem. When you have this, you are what your record says you are, your model. Why wouldn't the Big Ten, man? You look at the Big Ten, you've got 6 teams that are below average or an average football team. Michigan State, Rutgers, Maryland, Purdue, all them teams. If I was on the schedule, and you know those teams stink most of the time, I would just have Ohio State, Oregon, Indiana, play them all every single year. Just that way we can just inflate our win total and get as many teams into the college football playoff as possible. I don't think even having quote unquote good TV ratings in the regular season is even going to matter, because you see the playoff TV ratings in a good game like Indiana, Alabama got 20-some million viewers. That's much more than a Indiana, Michigan game would have done in the regular season. Just is what it is. So the adaptation is coming to where this is not only going to affect non-conference, but it's going to affect conference games as well. And then maybe people will realize how damaged we are.
I think the problem, Mr. Real, is that because I got what you just said, because the only way that you can get 8 SEC teams into the playoffs by all of them going 12-1 is if the SEC teams don't play each other.
Right.
Yeah, because if you play each other, then you lose. But see that. If that happens, then just what's the point? What at that point, what is the point of having conferences at all? What is the point? Because if you're not going to play the teams in your conference, then there's no point of being in that conference, having those opponents. Because it's already dumb enough as it is when you've got the Big Ten having 18 teams, and it's like, oh, you can go like 3 years without playing a team. It's like,
Right.
are you really in the same league? Are you really in the same league when you don't even play each other?
Oh,
Right.
dude, you should definitely look at where the SEC was from 1932 to 1991. There were some teams that went decades without playing one another.
Yeah, but that's just garbage. It's garbage. I mean, the whole point of being in the same conference is that you're in the same conference and you play each other.
Michigander, just to respond to your comment, since you're the only guy in chat right now, that's literally what the entire SEC is doing right now. Like right now, as we're speaking, every SEC team's like, okay, we play this P4 team, cancel. Just mark it off the list. Okay, who's available? Southern's available? Pick Southern. Is Grambling available? Pick Grambling. Is any garbage team available? Pick them. Is the School of the Blind available? We're going to play them. That's what they're actively doing right now. And that's why I'm actively raising the alarms that, hey, this is a mentality of you are what your record says you are. And this is going to affect Michigan and Ohio State this year. Look at their schedules. They've got the two toughest schedules. I mean, you all got such an easy draw this year. I don't think Alabama's going to be a particularly good team next year. Like, I think they'll be around one of the 20 best teams, but you are almost a lock for me to make the playoffs because your schedule is just garbage. Whereas Michigan, I think, is going to be a legitimate top 15 teams, but they got no chance to make the playoffs because they play 4 top 10 programs. And they have to win 2 of those games, and that's just not going to happen.
I see Steve saying soft Alabama to back out. Again, my rebuttal to that, as I've said 5 times earlier tonight, is that it's not soft. It's because of the playoffs. It's because of the playoffs, man. It's nothing to do with being soft. It's because of the playoffs. We all know that it's the playoffs.
We don't know if Alabama, it's not over yet, because it's still on the FBS schedule site for 2027 and 2020.
My thing is, why do they even report? They just wanted to get people talking about it.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a lot of reports is oh, this is happening. But no, it's okay, yeah, it's being reported that Alabama, Ohio State might be on the chopping block. Let's see how people react. And I knew the second I saw that I was going to see about 800 memes about soft, Charmin soft, and all that kind of. No, Alabama is not soft. It's because the game does not matter. It does not matter when the only thing that matters is the playoff. That is what college football has become. Literally, the fact that on February 12th, we are talking about the playoff should tell you that is the only thing that matters. It's not the conference title game. It's not your rivalry game. It's not your little non-con game. It's the playoff. Because last I checked, Ohio State lost their lid that they lost to Michigan 2 years ago, a year and a half ago, whatever. And then they ended up winning the Natty. And I even heard some Ohio State fans say, yeah, winning the Natty, it erased that Michigan loss to me. Whereas before, that would have been blasphemous. Oh my gosh, Michigan's the only thing that matters. We got to be Michigan. They won the Natty. They won the playoff. They made the playoff, and they won the Natty. That's all that matters. It doesn't matter. The rivalry games are dying. They still matter, but they don't matter like they used to matter. They don't matter at the same rate that they used to matter because the playoff is what matters. And Alabama, like everybody else, wants to make that darn playoff. And playing Ohio State does not help you get there. I'm sorry. Ohio State's probably looking at it like it's a win. It is a win not to play Alabama. As great as it would be for Caden to say, oh, we're going to win and all that. Yeah, well, you said the same thing about Indiana being trash and they won it all. You said the same thing about Alabama losing to Georgia and Athens and we beat them. So that track record's not that great. But the point is that Caden would have loved that game because he wanted to see Ohio State beat Bama. And you know what? There's a good chance they could have beat Alabama, especially the way we are right now. But the game does not help them, and it doesn't help us.
But I will say, I don't think it's gonna be canceled because I doubt that because it's like you said, it was a move just to get people talking. That was it. But if it does wind up getting canceled, which I hope it doesn't, we will either go live or we'll do like a breaking news video all right here on Alabama with the Voice College Football discussing it, discussing the impact that it will have on Alabama for 2027 and 2028. That is what we will do all right here on Alabama with the Voice College Football. Make sure to keep you updated Like, comment, subscribe, click on the notification bell so you never miss no video whatsoever.
Michigander, real quick before we move on, he said, "Ooh, Jeffrey, I'm telling you right now, the Michigan-Ohio State game still matters."
Yeah.
I didn't say that it didn't matter anymore. I know Darrell probably backed me up on that. I didn't say it didn't matter anymore. I said that it does not matter as much. The fact that you had to say that it still matters. Yeah, it still matters, but it's not as important because it's about making the playoffs. I guarantee you that for the next 5 years, Michigan lost to Ohio State but won a national championship every single year, you'd be fine with that. That's where everybody's mind is.
And we got Roll Tide Forevermore giving out a Roll Tide. And we give out a Roll Tide right back to Roll Tide Forevermore.
I would not be saying that about Ohio State. I would not. I just disagree. That's not where my head is. My head is not that Ohio State's soft if they're the ones canceling. Alabama's soft because we're canceling. I don't look at it that way. It's because of the playoff. That's why.
And that we got to 9 conference games in the SEC.
I mean, it's like, I don't understand why that's such a hard concept here. It's not that hard. It's not soft. It's not soft. It's because
Jeffrey,
of
it's
the
because
fact of the playoff. They want to make the playoff easier. I'm telling you, that's all it is.
it's because people would rather dunk on what their perceived opponent is than yeah. It's easier to dunk on an opponent when they're down than say, man, this might be bad for the sport overall. Which that's what I'm saying is, hey, this is bad for the sport overall. If anything, Alabama, based on the current model, should get credit for what they're doing. They're canceling against Ohio State.
That's for the entire fan base, Steve. I know you're just like getting me to continue to rant, and I appreciate you for that because you do a great job of doing that, and it's always entertaining when you do that, and I appreciate that. I really do. I honestly mean that. I don't speak for the entire fan base. I'm telling you what I think, and what I think is that it's the playoffs. And I don't really care what anybody else thinks about it because what everybody else thinks is their opinion. If it is an Alabama's fans' opinion that that we're soft, fine. I don't care. If it is an Ohio State fans' opinion that we're soft, that's fine. But I'm telling you why I think it is. And even though it is my opinion on that, I really think there is a lot of factual evidence to back up what I'm saying. That it is not softness, it is playoff. That's all it is. And what Jackson said about the 19, conference, whatever. I don't know, man. I mean, I think the playoff has done a lot more harm than good for college sports. Not financially, obviously, but in other areas. And this is a big thing. Stuff like your little rivalries and your non-conference games and all that type of stuff that you advocate for, Jackson. The playoff is why you're losing that stuff. Yeah. I'm telling you that the playoff is why you're losing that stuff. Because if it wasn't the playoff, then how come before the playoff, especially expansion playoff, when it moved to 12, did we not have these conversations? The fact we're having these conversations now while we've expanded to 12, and now we're possibly want to expand to 16-24, that's your problem. Nobody wants to blame the playoff because the playoff is so awesome and it's great. I'm not saying it's all bad. The playoff is not all bad. It just... You got actions have consequences, like Darrell said.
Yeah, there's a lot of bad. I would say there's more bad than good that is coming out.
There is absolutely more bad than good, but money is the only really good, and more games if that's what you care about, and that's it, and that's enough.
Well, right. Darrell, what else is on your mind tonight, good buddy?
I wanted to ask you all about the non-conference schedule. There's some projections I've seen out there that only one, like Georgia or Texas, are the only teams that could go 10-2. I don't know what the Vegas odds are going to say, but I'm expecting a lot of 9.5s. I feel like the committee's almost going to be forced into a position where a 9-win team is going to make the playoffs this year, because I just don't think there's going to be that many 10-win teams unless they're like your Virginias or your Houston, teams where everybody knows they're complete frauds, and they're acceptable to be underneath the totem pole above like last year. So do you think a 9-3 team would make it?
Depends on who it is.
It would depend on who it is, and narrative's a big thing too. I mean, you think Texas would have had a lot better of an argument to get in at 9-3 if the way they played the first 2/3 of the season didn't exist. Because they played bad for so long that when they got supposedly hot down the stretch, it was too late. You know, I think that was the bigger problem. No one wants to admit that, but I'm telling you, man, like when they were barely beating Mississippi State and Kentucky and all that, they were like garbage early on. That's why. Alabama, people forget that they were literally one team from making the playoff at 9-3 the year before that. And we had a loss to Vanderbilt and Oklahoma in there. Those losses were horrible. But we almost got in because it was a weaker field. I mean, you had like Indiana and SMU. I feel like the playoff was stronger this year. I feel because like
yes, unquestionably.
It felt like this year, like you had Notre Dame miss the playoff. You had Texas miss the playoffs. Those teams could probably have legitimately had a shot to go far in the playoffs. The year before that, I don't think anybody was saying Ole Miss or South Carolina was going to make a deep run. Maybe Bama, but no. I think this year's field was stronger. So to your point about a 9-3, it would depend on how weak the top is.
Right. But to me, there was 5 SEC teams that made the college football playoff last year. One of those 10 or 2 of those 10-2 teams is going to lose a game. Just probability wise, with the extra games added, of course, the season, the nutrition, somebody gets hurt. So I don't see 5 SEC teams going 10-2 or better. Or 6 with counting Vanderbilt. And my question is, if there's only 3 or 2 that go 10-2, you know, the Big Ten's only got 5 good programs at absolute most. The ACC's Miami and nobody else. The Big 12 is literally nobody. I just don't see the amount of playoff spots to where all the spots are going to be filled with teams that have won 10 games. So I almost think it's certain that a 9-win team is going to make the playoffs this year. Now, unless the SEC just has this anomaly of a year where there's a massive gap between the top 4 or 5 teams and everyone else, then I guess it's possible, but there's no evidence for that occurring.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the Big Ten is in a weird spot because it used to be a massive gap between the top and the rest. Like, you had your top 3 or 4 teams, and then everyone else was just, like, really bad. And now that's still kind of true. But it's like last year. Yeah, there was a big gap between Ohio State, Oregon, and Indiana and everyone else. But the Big Ten still had Michigan, USC, Illinois, and Iowa that had a pulse. You know what I'm saying? Like, that is what an expanded playoff does for you. Or not expanded playoff, but an expanded conference, rather. So, since they've expanded the conference, you've added all these teams. You've got more good teams. Because you've added Oregon, you've added USC. So, Indiana's gotten good now with NIL and Signetti and expanded playoff. Like, I think an expanded playoff has helped more teams actually be good because they want to invest because they know they can actually make the thing. Which is why I think my mind was at expanded playoff. I think all of it is hand in hand. So the Big Ten is trying to close that gap with the SEC. Where you keep coming from the SEC is that the gap at the top 3 to 4 and then like 5 through 8 is a lot slimmer still than the Big Ten's is. And it's definitely a lot slimmer from number 1 to 16. Because 1 to 16 in the Big Ten, bottom of the Big Ten is trash. Like Purdue last year was trash.
The bottom
Nobody
third
in
of
the
the Big
SEC was
Ten.
as trash as Purdue, except maybe Arkansas. And even Arkansas was better than Purdue.
Right. By a significant margin, by the way.
So to
The
your
bottom
point,
third-
that's where the SEC is going to rack up more losses probably because playing all that non-game. It could happen. I don't know. I just think that like, if you've got like a 10-2 Michigan and then you've got a 9-3 like Texas A&M, yeah, Michigan's going to get it. If it's a 9-3 Bama, it depends on the losses are. But I think it depends on the schedule too. Like if you have like a really hard schedule and like your 3 losses are like the top 10 team, all of them are top 10 teams and they're very close losses, I think that there'll be an argument there. It just like Texas lost to Florida, Bama lost to Oklahoma, Vandy. That's why those teams didn't get in ultimately, I think. I think Texas's argument would have been a lot better if their 3 losses were all good teams. That's the problem. I think you need a case where you need a 9-3 SEC team that their 3 losses are to really good teams and they have like 3 good wins. You know what I'm saying? Like if they have 3 really, if you're playing a non-game conference schedule and you've got like just say like Alabama has wins over Georgia and LSU and Tennessee, but then their losses are to the other 3 best teams in the SEC, then you could get in. But if Alabama's losses are to Arkansas, Mississippi State, and Florida, but then they have like 1 win over Georgia, you're not going to get in. It depends who you play, who you lost to, and what all the other teams did around the country in the other conferences. If there's not a lot of strong teams at the top, then a 9-3 SEC team can get it. But it depends on the scenario.
And to kind of go to the other side, it's going to be weird looking at this bracket, but I think it's pretty likely also a 4-loss team makes it out of the ACC, particularly because that conference, I don't believe in Miami. 25 years of being trash, basically, and 1 year of making the national championship game. I need to see it repeat in order to believe in them. And outside of Miami, it's nobody. So, like, Georgia Tech, Virginia Tech, 8-4 could make the college football playoff. I mean, it's great for more teams to be included in the sport and have a path to potentially lose by 40 to somebody. But I think it'd be a weird-looking bracket to see a 4-loss team in there. Do you think it's likely or possible a 4 or 5-loss team makes the playoffs because the ACC champion is guaranteed a playoff spot?
It should have happened this year, with Duke. I mean, if they had the rule like that, we would have seen it with Duke. So absolutely, it could happen. But the thing is that it wouldn't have made, a hill of beans of difference whether Duke made it or James Madison. I'm sorry. I know Duke's they're better. I understand Duke was better than James Madison, but
yeah. But do you think narrative-wise, because I'm against playoff expansion, I'm sure as you are, Jeffrey, do you think narrative-wise it's good to see, man, this ACC team who won their conference championship has 5 losses, has 4 losses, and this be a consistent thing? I feel like that could be a good avenue to push back against the playoff expansionist crowd. Be like, we're already at 12 teams, and you got this 5-loss team in here. Yeah. Imagine we expand it. You all want more 5-loss teams in the college football playoff?
Well, it wouldn't be a problem at all if all the teams, or all the conferences, rather, in the Power 4 had at least 2 teams that were really good. But see, that's kind of the problem. Because, like, the Big 12 was just darn lucky that BYU was decent enough, solid enough, that they had 1 loss when they played Texas Tech and got smoked. But because outside of that, I mean, the Big 12 didn't have anybody. And then the ACC outside of Miami had nothing. I mean, like when they were trying to hype up Pittsburgh against Notre Dame, I was literally about to lose my mind. That was pathetic. That was actually pathetic. The fact that people were legitimately trying to argue for that being a marquee game. That was not a marquee. Pitt was not good. All right. And Louisville was better than Pittsburgh. The problem with Louisville, and I know Austin's going to lose it right now, I'm sorry, but the problem with Louisville is they're the most inconsistently consistent team in college football right now under Jeff Brom. Every year they beat a good team, whether it's Miami, Clemson when they used to be good but they suck now, all that. But then they lose these garbage teams, Stanford and Cal, and it's like, stop doing that. Maybe go 10-2, 11-1 and be decent and make the playoff. That would make the ACC better if Louisville would step up to the plate. Because Louisville just keeps screwing around. Clemson sucks. That really hurts that Clemson sucks. The fact that Dabo Swinney and Clemson suck is hurting the ACC so badly. It destroys it. And Florida State sucking doesn't help either. And Belichick in Carolina just being complete garbage doesn't help either. You just got a whole lot of garbage.
I feel like I'm getting a Herm Edwards at Arizona State vibe from Bill Belichick at North Carolina.
Well, it's worse. It's worse. But Louisville, at least Herm Edwards had Jane Daniels, and they went 8-5, and they beat Justin Herbert in Oregon. They had something. But
and I want to give a quick mention to Michigander's bold prediction where he says, watch out for Maryland and UCLA. Maryland brings back a ridiculous amount of players and a lot of talented, and UCLA hired Bob Chesney. Yeah, Bob Chesney is going to bring out a lot of awesomeness. And for once, UCLA made a good decision on their football program. And also, I also want to tell people to check out the Maryland channel here at the Voice College Football Network, as tomorrow afternoon is another exciting edition of Maryland Terrapins Live with Charles Nyonga and Mark Gray at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, 1 p.m. Central Time. You can always check that out to start off the Friday lineup here at the Voice College Football Network. I will put the channel link in just a little bit. And Michigander says Maryland easily has the best passing rushing duo in the Big Ten. I think we're going to wait and see what happens with Maryland, because like Loxley usually does not have a good track record. Like, they always have these good starts and they have those terrible ends. I warned about this as early.
Loxley has not done well at Maryland overall. I mean, outside of having a couple good receivers and Tua's younger brother, I mean,
he's only there at Maryland because of that Saban connection. If it wasn't for anything else,
they fired that guy. Will talks about all the time. They fired that dude like in 2010 that was winning like 9 games every year. I forgot his name, but you know what I'm saying?
Ralph Redgen.
Yeah, that dude. Like, he was winning 9 games every year, man. And they fired him, and it's like,
and they
Loxley can't even win 7 hardly.
And they whiffed on Mike Leach after that.
Yeah, I don't get that. I mean, the funny thing about Halston, like, he's trashing the ACC. I mean, I'm not trashing the ACC. I'm saying,
can we bring him on?
I'm saying that the ACC has a bunch of
Let's bring in our next
programs.
caller, Sports Talk with Austin. How are you doing tonight, good buddy?
I'm saying that the ACC has a bunch of garbage programs that are sinking the conference. If they would start performing better, it would make the conference look better as a whole, but they're not performing better.
Austin,
Doing pretty good. I'm just tired of this blasphemy that we're putting on my conference. I got to stick up for my fellas here, because last time I checked, the SEC was sitting at home on the couch while we were playing for a championship. Where was the SEC at this year, huh?
Literally one team. It's like Clemson saved the ACC in the 2010s. And now I guess Miami's trying to save them in the 2020s. But having one good team does not make a good conference.
What do you mean? We are the second best conference in college football. We are a loaded conference, guys.
Yeah, not in revenue. I'm not seeing it in revenue.
Second
money,
best.
right?
By the way, when people say I make up things, like people say the SEC, people down. This man just said on public airways, the ACC is the second best conference.
Yeah, and I just said that one good team does not make a good conference.
I mean,
what do you mean? We could have had 5 teams make the playoffs this year, dude. Miami,
He's totally trolling
Virginia.
right now. He's totally trolling right now.
No, I'm not. Georgia Tech, Virginia.
You want people to believe that you're totally trolling, because if you're not totally trolling, it's not going to be good. The fact
we
you're
don't
trying to
believe
argue
you.
for Virginia, a team that beat North Carolina in overtime by 1.
Hey,
Because
listen,
Belichick
fellas. We always
decided to
talk.
go for 2.
Listen.
North Carolina's fine.
We talk about stacking wins, right, fellas? We praise the Big Ten and SEC. Oh, what a gritty win. What a win. How come we don't keep that same energy when Virginia finds ways, when Georgia Tech found ways? Why are we not keeping this energy when Miami found a way, when Miami kept winning? You all didn't give them no chance to beat Ohio State, and I was the only one that said they could do it, and they did it.
The bye did not help.
this. I mean, listen, man. When people say people that talk down about the SEC and there's this bias, this is what I'm talking about. People just come on here and say the ACC's biased, the Big 12's biased, the
Let me
G6.
ask you a question.
You know why people?
Go ahead.
I was going to say, you know why people don't talk about the ACC's wins? Because they've got none. They're broke. They have no wins. They're homeless.
They're not making money.
Yes, they're literally broke, and they don't have any wins.
They're broke. Like, their TV deal, they are so broke. It is unreal. But let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question. Who has displayed the most bias on this show so far tonight?
Oh, it's easily Austin. I mean, this guy's out here talking.
Hey, listen, but
hyping up
facts
Georgia
back it
Tech.
up.
How Georgia Tech doing non-conference play, by the way? Oh, they got dog walked by
they
Georgia.
barely lost to Georgia.
They barely beat Colorado.
Hey, to Steven's
Colorado's
point.
good, Real. According to Austin, Colorado is good.
Hey, Jeffrey, with all due respect, how'd y'all do against Florida State? Oh, that's right. You all don't know how to beat them.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. Okay. See, that's
Like-
all you got. That is all you
No.
got in Alabama, Florida State. It's like, no.
Hey, listen, even Steven Cherry in the chat is shredding you with that, Jeffrey.
He's joking.
But it's true, though, Jeffrey. If you can't beat Florida State, how can we take your conference seriously? Oops.
Dude, you got no argument for the ACC. I love it because you are so wholeheartedly defending them, and I respect that. But I know deep down in your heart of hearts and your being that you know the ACC is not the second best conference. I know you know that. I know you know
Here's
that.
the thing, though, Jeffrey, but they are.
Playing it up, but I know you know that.
Here's the thing, though, but they are, Jeffrey, because the depth of this conference is legit.
Yeah,
Like-
man, that Pittsburgh is such a quality win for Notre Dame, man. That's why they didn't make the
It is.
playoffs.
Jeffrey, College Game Day went there. That tells you
because
something.
they felt bad for Pitt, and there were no other games to go to.
Jeffrey, you don't do that unless you're a high-quality opponent. They knew that Notre Dame and Pittsburgh is a...
to FCS games before Austin. They've gone to FCS. The game day has gone to FCS games. Game day has gone to like they've gone to like the low, like when they were doing like Jackson State back.
They've been to James Madison before.
Yeah, they go to small teams.
They went to
They've been to
Appalachian State, Troy.
So they don't always go to high quality teams.
That's why that's why it's like, you know, it's like I don't worry too much about where game day goes or where big noon kickoff goes, honestly, because it's like it's pretty good for the schools. Don't get me wrong, but it's just for
Well,
me.
we know. I'll tell you, Jackson. I'll give you a heads up. Big noon kickoff is either going to Michigan, Ohio State, or one Big 12 game because they're contractually obligated to. There's the big noon kickoff schedule. But, I mean...
Yeah, I agree with Darrell on that one. I mean, I agree.
Yeah, I don't think Ohio State's going to like that they're on big noon kickoff.
But see, here's the thing, fellas. If we're so bad of a conference and we don't have nothing, why did we almost just win the whole thing with Miami, huh?
One team does not make a good conference.
Same could be said for the SEC, fellas. But by your all standards, Ole Miss is the best team in the SEC, right? Because they made it the farthest.
That's not what I'm saying, man. It's not what I'm
That's
saying.
what you're saying, because you keep saying, "Oh, Miami's just one team. Miami's just one team. Ole Miss is just one team." But here we are.
The second best team in the ACC.
Duke, since they won the whole thing.
What if Miami was in the ACC title game playing Duke or Virginia?
Dude, Duke got beat by Illinois by almost 30.
They lost to UConn, Jeffrey.
They
And
lost to
Tulane.
you. I mean,
They
they're
lost
so
to
good, man. They're
Tulane.
so good. So good that Memphis went to the best team in the ACC. He was like, screw being on the second best team. I got to be on the best team, the only team that matters in the ACC. All right.
Hey, listen here, fellas. I mean, Alabama lost to Florida State. We all have our bad moments. Like, let's not act like it. I mean, Darrell, you're a Kentucky fan in football. You have a bad moment every season. Let's be honest.
It's not arguing for the ACC or Kentucky being good either.
Right. Not every team in the SEC
I'm
is
sorry,
good.
but the ACC is not good.
Yeah, I mean, the results say.
I just disagree with you all. I think you all are blinded with your Bama colors.
The ACC is not good. Doesn't matter whether the hat's on or not. I'm not blinding my thinking here.
Get your North Carolina hat, Jeffrey.
I can say it with my North Carolina hat on. They are not good. They're better in basketball this year, though. ACC is getting better in basketball again. But in football, they're not good because you got to have a better Clemson. You got to have a better Florida State. You got to have Bill Belichick figure it out, which I don't think is possible at this stage of the game. But we'll find out. We'll see if him and Petrino can figure it out or whatever. I don't know. All I'm saying is that the ACC's big brands are struggling outside of Miami, who without Miami, the ACC would be totally cooked. And you need your Louisville and you need a few of those other teams to actually like look good.
See, and here's the thing that irks me. So let's just say next year, right? Bowl results. Who did the best in bowl games this year? It was the Big Ten. But who did second best? The ACC. But here's the thing, though.
We're really claiming the ACC had the second best bowl results when Pittsburgh went out there and lost to East Carolina.
But here's the thing, though, Darrell. You always tell me, and you've said this on many shows, we don't count it when it goes against our conference, but why don't we count it when it does? And the records say the ACC has the second best bowls, and the Big Ten has the best.
I'm pretty sure I've said also, maybe you need to check the tape, I've said these just record bowl mania things are absolute garbage because you have no context. I'm sorry that the ACC, Louisville beating Toledo is not as valid as Indiana beating Miami. I really don't think I need to explain it.
Virginia beating Missouri when Missouri had a walk-on quarterback doesn't really count either.
Right.
Hey, a win's a win.
Okay.
This mentality is what I talked about, Jeffrey. This you are what your record says you are mentality is actively killing the sport.
The bowl games, you do not play equal teams. You just don't. And I know you don't play equal teams in general. You don't play equal teams. Like for example, PJ Fleck, he's won 9 bowl games in the last 10 years. He's the greatest coach in college football. Yeah, have you seen what some of those wins are? The only one that was good was that Auburn one.
He beat New Mexico by 3.
Bowling Green and crap. That's all their wins. Like PJ Fleck makes a living off going to the Quick Lane Bowl and winning that game against a MAC school by 3 on a last-second field goal, and he still has a job. Good car salesman PJ Fleck, who we all love around here. But that doesn't mean you're good, man. Because trust me, if you look at the bowl game graph, Minnesota has more bowl wins than anybody else in the last 10 years. That doesn't mean they're good.
And to Darrell's point about what your record says you are, well, Virginia went 10-3, guys. So that by my standards, they're a 10-win team.
And they beat North Carolina by
they're not a good team.
Let's talk about
Virginia. I want
to see
if Virginia was a good team. They'd beat Duke.
Yeah, Penn State's better than them based on the results of the season. And Penn State has 3 more.
In FPI, they actually were. Penn State was actually way better.
Every metric has Penn State as one of the 20 best teams in the country.
Yeah, and I tried to say that it was a good win for Indiana. It's no, it's not because they were up 3-6. Okay, they still had the 19th best roster in college
football. Sagarin has them number 10 in the country.
Yeah,
that's where they ended up. By the way, top 10 team.
I just want to get to the Virginia schedule for a moment because it's I'm a little worried about how they'll do next season. And
justifiably so.
Terrible. This upcoming season. Why did I say next season? I mean this upcoming season.
Imagine, Jeffrey.
Next season, but
Jeffrey, imagine you flip a coin 10 times. Okay.
So I'm looking at all the wins, right? So
if Virginia's so good, they should beat every team on that schedule because that schedule is crap. Their toughest game is at Louisville. They play nobody.
Right. But they've got 1, 2, 3, 4.
God, that schedule is horrible.
5 1 possession.
Oh, that's this year's schedule. Yeah, they didn't play anybody. Mm-hmm. Their toughest game was at Louisville this past year.
Anyway.
Okay, let me look at this year's schedule.
So usually when a team has where most of their wins from the previous season has 1 possession wins, and this is a rule I've seen for the NFL, and I feel like this rule applies same for college football, where it's if you have a lot of 1 possession wins in the previous season, you're usually going to have a down year. I'm not saying that'll happen with Virginia, but
that happened with the Vikings, man. That happened with the Vikings.
It didn't happen with BYU, Jackson, like we thought it would. So they kind of broke that curse.
Well, if you remember last season on the stream that Austin and I were doing, and I think we got a call from Darrell on the Big 12 takes. for the preseason, I said myself that watch for BYU's defense. Watch for everybody else on there.
You did. You called it.
Yeah, because I was like, don't only look at the quarterback situation. Look at everybody else on that roster. Now, Virginia and North Carolina State are starting off the season in Brazil, right? I'm wondering if this is like the same thing with Kansas State and Iowa State from last season, where it's like, oh, it's a great game. It was a fun game. But then in the long term for the 2025 season, both teams kind of fell apart a little bit. I'm not saying that's what'll automatically happen. I'm just saying that's what I wonder.
Kansas State actually ended up turning their season around, and he's still retired, so it's kind of shocking. But like they went 6-6. They started out like 1-5. So I mean, they did improve down the stretch. Yep. But I mean, Virginia NC State is not a high profile game. That is a solid. That's a solid game. That's not like Kansas State, Iowa State last year would have had more hype than this game will.
And I feel like West Virginia is a candidate to have a nice bounce back season for 2026, but we will definitely learn more about this West Virginia team.
The schedule's still not hard, Jackson. It's not like they're not playing anybody, man. It's just it's because the ACC is not strong. I mean, like at Florida State, that game's only going to be hard if Florida State is good, but they haven't been for years. So
they won't be good. They're good. They're good. They're the most consistent program since they've joined the ACC, and they get a bunch of crap.
Tech too with Franklin, how good they are going to be already. I mean, whether or not, I mean, it's still schedule's not. I mean, they could go 9-3 and still not be great.
Yeah,
they could go 10-3. They go 9-3, win their bowl game, be 10-3, have the exact same record as last year, and just be like, all right.
So I want to bring this up because this is kind of a similar thing. Like the Super Bowl, right? Everyone's picking on the Patriots for their schedule and how they weren't good. But doesn't it take some level to get to where you're going? Virginia, they're a prime example. They're kind of the Patriots of the NFL. They made the ACC title game, and everyone here except me is kind of saying they aren't good.
What did you just say?
I said Virginia is like the Virginia from this year is like the Patriots. A lot of people are picking on the Patriots for their schedule, saying, oh, Drake May's the schedule. They didn't play nobody. They got the easiest path to the Super Bowl. Kind of like how everyone's picking on Virginia. Oh, your schedule. The ACC plays nobody. You didn't play nobody to get to the title game. How can we really know if you were that good? That's what I'm getting at. That's what kind of Virginia.
I would argue that the Patriots this year were like Clemson in the Dabo era because they actually like made it to title games. Virginia can't be comped with the Patriots in any way. They don't make title games. They aren't good. I mean, at least the Patriots were good.
And
yeah, I get what you're trying to say, but I know you're just talking about this year, not historically, where the Patriots have all the Super Bowls and Virginia hasn't done anything. But like,
no, not historically, Jeffrey. Do not take that out of context.
I know you weren't saying that, but I'm just saying even this year, I still don't agree with that.
Well, gentlemen, let's point out this super sticker that we got from our good buddy Godfather the SEC for the $4.99, asking how's it going. We appreciate the super chat, super sticker from Godfather the SEC. Thank you so much for that. And thank you for the super chats tonight, Michigander. And, you know, for those who come on in to watch the Crimson Tide live shows, the call-in show, and much more on Alabama Voice of College Football, we appreciate you guys very much. And, you know, for those who want to put in if you really want to get your comment out there or put it in or put a question that you really want us to answer, a really good chance to have that is to put it in a super chat, and we'll make sure to point it out. But even if you can't be able to put in a super chat or be able to become a YouTube member of Alabama with the Voice of College Football, no worries. That's okay. That's why you like, comment, subscribe, share, and click on the notification bell so you never miss another video whatsoever. We've got to get the 3,200 subs, ladies and gentlemen. We appreciate y'all very much. Back to our conversation.
Yes. And the faster you do that, the faster Jackson will get you a golden retriever. So subscribe, people, if you want a golden retriever. They're good. They're good for companion. Jackson will buy from out of his own pocket, and Jeffrey will help.
So, Austin, I want to.
That would maybe be a bigger subscriber milestone on that one.
Probably more like 10,000 subs or like a 9,000 subs. But
not a bad idea. Not a bad idea.
Austin, I'm curious. How many teams do you think should be ranked in the top 25 for preseason out of the ACC?
I really like where Georgia Tech is going to be going.
I mean, they might be ranked because of Alberto Mendoza.
Let's just say, Jet, how many teams maximum can the ACC have? Because they're the second best conference according to Austin. You know, they've got all this depth like Pittsburgh and Virginia and Georgia Tech. So I'm just curious.
Maybe.
Here's the thing. Logistically, and I'm being serious with y'all, they could get 4 if things work out in their way. And before Jeffrey blows the gasket, we've got Miami, got my boys at Louisville, Duke might have an argument, possibly, and then Georgia Tech.
I would argue they lost Mensa.
Yeah, I just don't see how the second best conference, based on your standards with all this incredible depth and talent and all this stuff, should only have 4. The SEC is going to have 8 or 9. The Big Ten is going to have 7 or 8. I mean, the gap between them and the ACC is only growing and growing. If you want to be
4, but the 4 teams, if it's going to be, it's going to be Miami, Louisville, SMU, and Georgia Tech. Duke's not going to be ranked.
So let me ask you, since we're on the Bama channel, let me ask you, who are the locks that you would think in the SEC? It's Georgia, Ole Miss. Is Oklahoma a lock right now in the preseason?
I really don't know where
Alabama's going to be ranked.
Yeah, Texas is going to be ranked. Texas A&M.
Alabama's ranked.
That's already 6, right? So Texas A&M, Texas, Bama, Ole Miss, Georgia, Oklahoma.
Vandy?
No, they're not a lock.
Might be gone.
Yeah, those 6 are locks for sure. And then you've got the bubbles between Missouri, Tennessee, Vanderbilt. One of those teams
always ranked.
Right. One of those, I'm going to be conservative and say one of those 3 teams will be ranked. So 7 SEC teams will probably be ranked at the least, 8 or 9 at the most. Whereas the absolute best case scenario for the ACC is 5. If for some reason Virginia just gets a ton of respect and they're like a 25 or 24 for whatever.
We forgot LSU.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so it'll be 8.
LSU might be more likely than Oklahoma.
Well,
yeah, it'll be 8 then.
And you got to think, too, when we're looking at this, and look at this, you got to factor in the Big 12, and they're probably going to throw a G5 in there. They're probably going to throw someone a cupcake in there. Say, here, we respect you.
Well,
now,
if we have 8 from the SEC, we throw in a G5, Notre Dame, that's 10, 4 from the ACC. We'll say 7 from the Big 10. Sound about, Iowa, USC, Michigan, Oregon, Indiana, Ohio State, and then maybe a weird pick at 23, like a Minnesota or Northwestern, just some random.
Possible. Penn State.
Yeah, Penn State, yeah. So that'll be 7.
Penn State, they brought over like all of Iowa State's team. That was a fringe top 25 team. So, I mean, they might rank them.
Fair enough. So we'll say 7 for the Big 10 at a minimum. So that's 21 teams. So 3 or 4 from the Big 12 is most likely.
You'll get Texas Tech, BYU, and
Utah.
Yeah.
Utah.
Oh.
No, their history, their pedigree, they're going to be ranked because you're casual. AP vote.
Though.
Do you think the AP voters know or care about that?
Well, I mean, the AP poll is not accurate.
Exactly. So I'm going to put them in there as like 21, 22.
Arizona State lost a lot. I mean, they're kind of cooked. I mean, I think Dillingham's solid, but they lost a lot, man. I mean, they're probably not going to be ranked. And I mean, who else? Definitely not Baylor.
Arizona, maybe.
I mean, looking at it, like I said, I could see them sneaking Boise in there just to say, here, we didn't forget about you.
Yeah, that's
See,
your
Yeah,
1G5 will either be
Pac-12.
Boise or Tulane, most likely.
Oh,
Yeah, because North Texas lost everybody to Oklahoma State, so not them.
I mean, could they sneak Memphis in there by any chance? Probably not. They would be a
No.
long shot.
Well, they lost
Cincinnati.
to Arkansas anyway.
Could Cincinnati be ranked out of the Big 12 because
No.
Satterfield
No.
a really good year?
they lost their key.
They lost
Texas
Orsby,
Tech.
so it's over. Kind of like how TCU lost Hoover. See, that's your problem right there. That's why the Big 12 and the ACC are struggling because they lose everybody, man. I mean, Hoover's gone, and Sorsby's gone, and Levitt's gone. I mean, that's your Big 12 right there.
And where'd they go, Jeffrey? Did they go to the ACC?
SEC Big 10.
Okay, did they even go to good SEC or Big Ten
Oh,
programs
yeah.
like
Texas Tech, I mean, Texas Tech's trying to act like they're the SEC now.
they're not? I mean, Mississippi State got, or LSU got Sam Levitt of Arizona State, which I think he was actually a very solid quarterback. I think that's a good get for them. So, but it's just the talent is leaving these two. They're basically feeder conferences at this point, to be honest.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing that I think we're going to learn a lot about. So next year, Louisville plays Ole Miss to open the regular season. That's a good test, right? We're going to learn a lot about where everyone stands, because Bama gets another crack at Florida State, this time at home. We're going to see if that turns out the same way. There's a couple games this year where we're going to learn about a lot of different teams. Like Ole Miss.
Right, but then let's say you win those games, and then what will happen is you'll have Stanford go to Hawaii and they'll lose. And you can't have that if you want to be a legitimate conference.
And Alabama lost to Florida State, then they made the playoff, and Florida State went 5-7.
Right.
Like
Well,
that
here's
actually, the thing is ACC fans don't actually realize that that's not the flex they think it is, having Florida State beating Alabama. It's not the flex thing it is, because if Florida State had to beat Alabama and then gone 10-2 or 11-1, then that would be a flex. It's not a flex when the team that
It looks bad on you.
to beat Alabama didn't make a bowl game. It's not a flex.
Well, it looks bad on you because it
looks bad on Alabama, but it doesn't look bad for the SEC, and it doesn't help the ACC because Florida State didn't do anything.
Right. The ACC needs to have consistency.
Yeah,
and
if Florida State had gone 10-2 or 11-1 and beat Alabama, then that would be good.
Right.
But it was not good when Florida State ended up being trash. It didn't help.
Right. It was the most meaningless, high-profile win of the entire college football season.
Yeah, it didn't do anything. I'm serious. Like, I know it looked bad for Bama, but Bama still made the playoffs, so it didn't matter. That's the point.
Well, and I want to refer back to Jeffrey's point real fast, and then I do have one more question I do want to ask you all. Jeffrey, you were referring back to the Dabo days of the ACC, right? Well, if I'm being truthfully and honest with myself, Jeffrey, that was just Clemson being Clemson. They ran that thing, Jeffrey. They were like the king pimps around there.
Yeah, and Lamar Jackson going 8-5 at Louisville and winning the Heisman is exactly what Jane Daniels did at LSU when they went 8-5.
Mm-hmm.
He was a great player.
I remember that
that
the 9-4 seed from 2016 where they just
9-4, 8-5, 9-4, whatever.
Yeah, they like hammer Florida State in week 3, and then like later on, they're 9-1 heading into Thursday night football, which was on Thursday, November 17th of 2016 on ESPN. The Houston Cougars upset them.
Let me ask you a question, Jack. You see how Clemson dominated the ACC and won it all twice? You think about how that league was really bad. UConn won the national championship recently in college basketball, and the year that they won it all, the Big East was bad.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think there is something to be said about when you are playing an easier schedule and you're playing easier competition that you don't get beat down as much as somebody that played a really tough schedule. I do think there is something to be said.
And real quick, Jackson, I want to add to this. I think you can also make an argument for so long Bama ran the SEC and there was just one or two teams that could stick with them. Like, we could do this for every conference if we really wanted to. And I'm being serious. You could pick out through the years. Bama ran this part. Then Georgia kind of took it over. now we're kind of seeing the SEC everybody's got a mix at it. But before it was just Bama, and then everyone else was playing for second.
I think the problem also is there were a lot of teams in the SEC that really competed with Alabama at different stints during that stretch. I mean, you think about really early with Saban, Florida, that they were really good. And then you think about, Auburn for a minute there in 2010 and 2013. And then you think about LSU in 2019. And you think about Georgia started to get better toward the end. And you think about in the mid-2010s. I mean, there was always a couple teams in the SEC that would challenge Alabama hard. I think the problem with Clemson and the ACC is that they literally had nobody that was even close to them that was giving them good competition. There was nobody.
Right.
I mean,
it's not only that. It's not only that.
They had Terry Rozier, and they won 11 games, and people were talking about Miami was back, and then they lost to Kenny Pickett in Pittsburgh in his freshman year.
Right. It's not only that, Jeffrey, but it's everyone outside of Clemson was losing their non-conference matchups to just awful teams. And that's the same thing that happened this year as well. Outside of Miami, every single ACC team basically lost their major non-conference matchup. And that's just not a good look for the ACC.
Yeah, and they won their bowl games because most of the teams had less players that opted out because a lot of the guys weren't going to go pro anyway.
Well, in addition to that, they played G6 teams like Toledo, East Carolina, Memphis. So they were expected to easily win those games.
And two, I think another point is too, people think you could single out the Big Ten. Who ran the Big Ten for the longest time? Ohio State. And I know where Jeffrey's going to say this before he even says it. Well, Austin, they had the Big Ten West. That's slim pickings. You had Iowa, Wisconsin every year. But Ohio State ran the Big Ten for the longest time. Am I right?
I agree with you there, Austin. I mean, the Big Ten for a very long time was more like what the ACC was. I literally said that earlier in the show, and Darrell heard me say it. I said that the Big Ten for the longest time was a couple teams. Ohio State, like Michigan, Penn State was right, maybe there-ish, and then it was a big drop-off. The difference now is that you've got Indiana now. You've got Oregon now coming from the Pac-12. USC now. Illinois has gotten better. You got more stuff. You've got more teams that are not completely garbage.
Right, and these teams validated themselves because of non-conference results.
Yeah, and all the games. I mean, you think about it. Iowa playing Indiana, Oregon, and USC close makes the Big Ten look better. Because not only did it make Iowa look like a more legitimate team, it made that win better for Indiana, Oregon, and USC in the eyes of the public. It made Iowa look better, but it also made the conference look better. Because Iowa was nowhere close to a playoff team. Iowa was just an 8-4 team, but they competed hard. Nobody in the ACC can say that at all. Iowa was like the 7th or 8th best team in the Big Ten, and yet they competed with national championship caliber teams.
I mean, here's the thing.
It's gotten better. The money, the media rights deal, the NIL, they are catching up with the SEC in a lot of aspects.
Yeah, the only thing they're not catching up with is results in regular season games.
And the bottom of it is really bad. But the middle's gotten better.
Yeah, the middle, top third has gotten better. I would say the middle hasn't. Minnesota, Northwestern, those teams are the middle.
Yeah,
Washington.
I'm referring to like 5 through 8.
No, you're referring through Iowa, Michigan, USC is 6 through 4. Iowa's not an average Big Ten team. They're an above-average Big Ten team that people just view as average. Washington was average. They were literally ninth.
And Nebraska and Illinois are like the ones on the outside that they could do better.
Yes, those are your average Big Ten teams based on the results on the
field.
And they could
do better because, especially Washington, Nebraska, because they have a history of fan base and they could do better if they ever do. I mean, Washington, Nebraska has untapped everything.
But it would have helped also if Washington decided to play literally anyone outside of conference with a pulse. It's crazy to me. You can have a quarter of your schedule, your 3 non-conference games in your bowl game, and not play a single P4 opponent. How is that even possible, man?
I will say this to the Washington thing. is Washington legitimately, we've seen them do it before. They could be the team that could represent the Big Ten one year if they get everything together. They've done it once before. And I know Jeffrey will say, well, that's the Pac-12, Austin. This is different. But Washington has the potential if they could get it all together. They're one of the
Austin is they have to keep their coach and they have to keep their players. And guess what? They kept Jed Fish and they kept Damon Williams. We'll see. We'll see.
But my question to you all, fellas, is let's shift to basketball because I want to get your all's opinion. How are we feeling about Alabama basketball? I mean, they beat Ole Miss yesterday, which is which you shouldn't, but it's a good win, but give up a lot of points. Where are we thinking Bama could end up in March? We think we can win it all? Elite Eight? What are we thinking, fellas?
I mean, Alabama could absolutely go to the Elite Eight if they get on a hot run of 4 games in a row where they hit like 23s. They could happen because they're so dynamic shooting the basketball when they're on that they can put up 100. The problem is their defense sucks, and if they go cold from 3 in any game, they're toast.
I want to see what Alabama will do the rest of the regular season. And I mean, I don't think there should be any trouble in getting in March Madness, but it's like it just all depends on the rest of the season right now. Because like I don't know if Alabama's going to be in trouble due to this whole Bediako thing. You know, just having to play 5 games, and you know, is there going to be forfeits? Is there not going to be forfeits?
I have no idea. I mean, why would there be? I mean, the thing is, I mean, they don't do it. They don't punish anybody else. Why would they?
Exactly. You know, because like it was like I've heard a lot. You know, because I was hearing about it on a few sites where it's like they were talking about, but it's, like you said, they don't talk about with anybody else. You know.
I mean, if the NCAA was still punishing teams, then it would make sense, but they don't punish anybody. Now look at Michigan. Maybe Hammer.
Right. I just wanted to shout out in general because we don't know. It's all about the draw. That's what all this comes down to. Until we see the bracket, it's just pure speculation. But I just want to give a shout out to the underdog, somebody who has been doubted constantly, and that's the SEC. And just give a round of applause for the SEC being the best college basketball conference for the second year in a row, according to the metrics.
Not as good as last year's insane
correct.
explosion, but still good.
But I mean, they're the best conference according to the metrics for the second year in a row in college basketball, football, college baseball, college softball. I mean, it's
in basketball. When I was a kid, the SEC was trash in basketball.
I mean, it's just truly remarkable that the one conference could literally just dominate the college landscape like the SEC has. And I think, honestly, they need to get more of their flowers because they're just significantly better than everyone else is in totality at this moment.
Listen, I know Jackson. I know Jackson's going to fire us all here in a minute, but we need to take a TV timeout. I want to take a TV timeout. Let's review this. Darrell wants to call me nutty for backing up the ACC, but this man over here is on that parade like the Seahawks were, raising that SEC flag. Love you to death. But the Big 12 is the best basketball conference. Everybody here can admit that. You've got Kansas, Arizona.
Yeah, the Big 12 is a great basketball conference. I'm not doubting that. And there's an argument, but according to the metrics, which the committee looks at, there's one conference that's at the top, and that's the SEC. Now, use the metrics, but that's what the metrics say.
I want to see what Arizona's going to do in March. I know Arizona's usually a great regular season team, but they always fall short of
the year they lost to Buffalo in round 1 was hilarious.
Look at the eye test, fellas.
Shout out to our guy Nato.
Eye test, fellas. I mean, like Alabama. Like, what do since this is the Bama channel, let's look at them. Then when we look at Bama, one week we could say, oh, they're terrible. They're going to get bounced in the second round because they have no defense. And then the next week we could look at them and say, oh, they could win the whole thing because they shoot the ball lights out and they can run you off the floor. Whereas Arizona, you've got a more consistent baseline of they just win and they can win the whole thing.
All right, let's look at
that's the difference between what you're like. Okay, like the Big East is UConn. And then the Big 12 has Kansas, Houston, Arizona. And the Big Ten is Michigan and Illinois and Michigan State right now that are like all like national championship caliber team. The SEC, the best team might be Florida. I think it might be Florida.
Mhm.
But
According to the metrics, it is Florida, by the way. They're
the
number
other
7.
teams at the top, like Kentucky's getting better, Arkansas is getting better,
Tennesse's
getting better. But like I don't think any of those are national championship caliber teams. I think Florida can be. I think the other conferences have an advantage this year because they have legit national championship contenders. I think the SEC that's the little bit of the weak spot, but the overall depth of the league this year is fantastic.
So I put my source in the chat, Jackson, because, the SEC had a down year. I'm just not making things up. So if Austin wants to look in that, he can look at it. But the reason the SEC is the best is because people do two things. They greatly overvalue the top and they greatly undervalue the bottom. Okay, so what it is this is the conference rankings, how many wins, their win percentage, and their highest team net. Okay, so what the Big 12 has is they have a lot of teams at the top. They have a very small middle, but they have a lot of bottom. So like Utah is just, I'm not sure if you've seen any Utah basketball this year. They're absolute trash. They're absolute horrible. And they've dragged their conference so far down that that's the main reason they're below the SEC. Because even the worst teams in the SEC, like LSU, South Carolina, are not nearly as bad as Utah is in the Big 12.
LSU got run off the floor last night, Daryl. I mean, not last night. Yeah, last night or 2 nights ago by Arkansas.
They were expected to get absolutely dominated by Arkansas. They're not that good of a team, but Utah is just that bad.
Metrically, LSU is a better team than Utah. Like LSU might be like the 90th best team, and Utah might be like the 150th best team. I think that's
okay. So on Valentine's Day, Alabama's playing South Carolina, which that should be an easy win, but we'll see. Next Wednesday will be against Arkansas, 6 p.m. Central on ESPN.
Road game or home game?
Home game.
Maybe.
Road game against LSU next Saturday.
Should be a win if they're any good.
Go with Death Valley.
And we've got a home game against Mississippi State Wednesday after Nets.
You got some very winnable games.
And then like Saturday, the Saturday game is against Tennessee, February the 28th. We've got a Tuesday game at Georgia, and then we end the season against Auburn. I gotta tell you, like Georgia, yeah, I mean it's like we got a pretty good slate. So even if there was like a okay, so we're gonna appease the masses, and oh, there you go, Darrell went off for set. There you are. So even if there was like the Biako games, we're just gonna pretend that didn't happen. Alabama's still in a good position. They're still fine.
Yeah, you guys are basically a lock to make the tournament. Just take care of business, beat the crap teams. You're in the tournament. Now, are you likely to go far this year, especially as far as you did last year? No, you're probably a Sweet 16 team at best. Case scenario this year, maybe an Elite 8 team if the ball bounces your way. But Alabama's had a great season and a good run, and they could win the SEC tournament. There's about 5 or 6 teams I think can win it if Florida just doesn't prove themselves to be way better than everyone else. So I think you all are in that tier 2, along with, your Kentuckys, your Tennessee, Arkansas level teams.
Which I know Jeffrey gets mad at this, but Nate Oates next offseason, there's going to be a lot of openings in the NBA. I'm sure a lot of teams are going to be calling him up again, saying, hey, I know you turned us down once before, but hey, how do you feel now? We got different job openings.
I mean, he kind of already run NBA style basketball already, so.
That's what I'm saying. Like, there's going to be some job openings that they're going to call him for, but it's not just him. It's like with Signetti, they're always going to call. Like they were saying, he was going to go to the Steelers.
Better is the pros now. Why would these coaches want to do that?
Money, I guess.
They make a lot of money in college.
If you got to go to an NFL team or an NBA team because of money, then you're not investing your money wisely, or you're not using your money correctly.
guess last thing I will say on that is I guess the NIL, you don't have to worry about your players leaving you every year. Like you have a pretty good idea of who's going to be on your roster from year to year. Maybe.
I guess. There's just a lot of egos in the NBA though.
Well, one thing's for sure, Austin, you got someone in chat that was in here earlier tonight, Pit Snipe Husker. He was calling for you to be a host on the Louisville channel at the Voice College Football Network.
Me?
Yeah,
I don't think I'd be good at that.
Well,
I appreciate the love, but I don't think I'd be good at that, fellas. I just like talking sports, just out open freely, and I like picking on Jeffrey, of course, as you could see.
Oh,
but
we've had a great time. It's always fun. I mean, I just like piggybacking off of it. It's great. I mean, like you start saying AZ is number one, and I'm gonna be like, no.
See, here's the thing about the Alabama Voice College Football channel. Let me tell you, if you're a new person that's never watched this channel and you're wondering what in the world are we talking about, we talk a little bit of everything. We talk Bama basketball. We talk about how this everything like we're like a pot of stew. You got your meats, you got your veggies, and Jackson, Jeffrey, and Trevion, they're the chefs in the kitchen, and we're just eating good stuff and giving them feedback. Is what we're doing.
I appreciate that. I did. Man, Daryl's leaving. I wanted to ask you. Well, I'll ask you also because I'm sure we are about to wrap this thing up. But what are your guys' thoughts on Indiana basketball, real quick? How's Indiana basketball doing right now?
Inconsistent would be one word I would use to describe. That they beat Purdue, but then they lose to USC. Makes no sense.
They did beat Wisconsin. And UCLA, both overtime. I mean, those were huge wins. I mean, because Wisconsin's actually pretty good because they beat Illinois and Michigan, and Indiana beat them, even though Wisconsin fans said Indiana shouldn't have won because the refs helped them, even though Indiana literally only shot 2 more free throws than Wisconsin in the game. But whatever. Point is, and those were fouls. No. But Indiana, they're not bad.
They're like bad. I mean, when you think about it, Jeffrey, Louisville and Indiana are kind of the same this year. Mikael Brown missed all those games, and we still didn't go down that far. Now, we got run out the building by Duke, which everyone has, but what I find poetic, before I go, is the night that y'all beat Purdue, Kurt Signetti and the whole national championship team.
It's in there, Indiana's playing better.
Like, you can't tell me that wasn't something where something like just in the air. It's just like, hey, we know you just won. Can you come when we play Purdue? Like, they couldn't have said, oh, come when we play Wisconsin or Michigan State. Oh no, Purdue. That's just like a little icing on the cake.
Oh yeah.
I mean, and on the peacock. Yeah.
It's been a big turnaround for Indiana because I mean they kind of looked dead earlier in the winter. They were 12-7. I was like, man, they're done. But they're now 17-8. They've won 5 of their last 6. The only loss was to USC. And Arenas for USC, that guy, he's good. Definitely had a big game against Indiana. I think Indiana was fatigued in that one too because they were coming off the double overtime game. So no excuse, but they were coming off the double overtime game against UCLA, and they fell just short against USC. But then they bounced back, beat Wisconsin, they beat Oregon. I think if they win 3 of their next 6, they'll get in. So right now they're like a non-seed, but I mean, just making the tournament for Indiana would be big because I mean I know Woodson made it a couple times, but Woodson without Jackson Davis was terrible. It's like this team has problems, but like at least it's kind of balanced. Like you got Tucker DeVries, you got Lamar Wilkerson, you've got Sam Alexis coming around. Connor Enright's a feisty little guard. Like it's kind of a fun team. I mean, they're not great, but I mean, it's not just Jackson Davis. At least it's kind of a team. Indiana has not kind of had a team since Tom Crean. At least they kind of have a team.
Mm-hmm.
So
now I will say this though. Like, for college basketball, it's anybody's game to win this year. I mean, you could literally pull a name out of the hat and say, Houston's going to win the whole thing. And I don't think many people would argue with you. You could say
Illinois.
Yeah. You could say St. John's could go on a Cinderella run. They've been playing better basketball. But But this isn't the basketball hour. Jackson's going to fire us off. We continue talking basketball. With that being said, roll Cards, everybody. Roll Tide. Roll Hoosiers and roll Tar Heels, Jeffrey. And go Sam Darnold. Woohoo!
Hey, I'm proud of Sam Darnold. What a job he did. Good turnaround story. Good turnaround story. But do appreciate you for coming on, Austin. That was a great time talking about how great the ACC was and breaking all that down. It was pretty fun. I had a good time there. It's always good fun. But that's why we love doing the show. The college show, we get to talk about whatever you guys want to talk about. Try to do it from a Bama perspective. But, it's a college show. It's kind of hard to do that. But on the Monday show with Travion and us, we stay on topic more. But the college show, it gets a little crazy.
Oh, no worries, Austin. You were good to go.
No, you're good, man. It was a great time. It was absolutely
fun. That was fun. That was fun. It's only 197 days till kickoff in the Eastern time zone, of course. And we're still in the Central time as it's 20 minutes till midnight. But, of course, we've got some magic coming your way from yours truly, myself, Jackson Johnson, and my colleagues, Jeffrey Only Talk Sports and Travion Ware, have more magic coming your way on Alabama, the voice of college football in the coming days, coming weeks, coming months. Hey, who knows? You could definitely see us. Maybe at some media days. Hey, some stuff can be happening. Who knows? Ooh. There we go. But Jeffrey, what magic have you got cooking on Only Talk Sports this week, good buddy?
Well, I did. I had my Super Bowl prediction last week and did get that one right. Picked the winner with the Seahawks. So definitely, if you wanted to see my exact score, appreciate if you check that out. But I'm gonna have more videos soon. I'm trying to see when I'll go live again with Will. It's trying to find a time. Sometimes it can be tough. It's kind of the doldrums of the off season. I know everybody's wanting me to do basketball streams again, and I would love to do basketball streams again, at least a couple. Like I haven't done one. It's fun. It is so fun doing a game, watching it, just talking about the game and whatever. It's so much fun. Some of my favorite streams I've ever done have been those. They've been great, but trying to find time to fit it in is so tough. But I will try, maybe. No promises, but to try to do a couple of those as we get closer to March Madness and during March Madness. But we'll see. But definitely stay tuned for that. If I do go live, if you hit the notification bell, you'll get the notification. I usually post it on Twitter as well, or you do it sometimes as well, Jackson. Appreciate that. But yeah, I've got to have more content on my channel. It's not consistent. I know that's why I say talk sports every single day, at least I try to. But I will have more content coming. Follow me on X as well if you want updates when I'm going live. But most importantly, subscribe to Alabama, the voice of college football. Like Jackson said, try to get to 3.2K, try to get to 3.5, maybe even 10K, so that Gold Retriever giveaway that Austin mentioned earlier. You never know. That might actually happen. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but you never know. But we appreciate the support. We can't get to 10K without you guys. We couldn't get to 3K without you guys. You guys are amazing. We want fans from every team. Yes, it's a Bama show, but if you're a USC fan like Trojan Fight, Michigan fan like Michigan, or Kentucky fan like the real Louisville fan like Austin, we want you in here, and we always have a great time talking with all of you, and we appreciate it.
We thank you all so much for tuning in and check out the magic that Jeffrey's creating on Only Talk Sports, where he talks sports every single day, or at least he tries to, but also all right here on Alabama, the voice of college football. And, of course, you can check me out on SEC at the voice of college football. You can check me out on a bi-weekly basis on Locked On West Virginia, as it's the offseason, of course, as I join Mountaineer Paul quite a lot to discuss the Mountaineers, especially some recruiting news, of course. It's always fun. And for more updates, what I've got going on SEC at the voice of college football, the Jackson, Alabama at the voice of college football, and much, much more. Check me out on Jackson Johnson 979 on YouTube, where I'm 269 subs away from 1,000. Working hard to get there. Check me out on Jackson VCFB on @/Twitter and on Instagram with Jackson Johnson 543908. But also, I've got some articles on vocfb.com. including some of our latest shows on the Voice of College Football, and some interviews where I discuss my takes on Fernando Mendoza going on the Pat McAfee show, or an Oklahoma guy going on the Paul Feinbaum show earlier this week, where he discussed about the NIL impact on more than football, more like what's going on off the field. It's pretty fun. I can tell you right now, we've got some fun stuff coming your way this offseason, all right here. And, tell your friends, your family, and the Cashier's posts about the magic that Alabama with the Voice of College Football is going to be bringing you all right here. Mondays, Tuesdays, 6 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, and Thursdays at 9 p.m. Central, 10 p.m. Eastern Time. And Michigander, that reminds me, I got a call with the Feinbaum show tomorrow, the day before Valentine's Day, just to kind of remind them that I called in a year ago on Valentine's Day, reminding about the stat on Valentine's Day. But with that being said, like, comment, subscribe, click on the notification bell so you never miss no video or episode whatsoever. And we will see y'all Monday night, or maybe before then. And roll
Tide. Happy
Good night,
Valentine's
folks.
Day, everybody.